Roswell and Tyson jump scare. Oh, thank God. Oh. Apologize again? No butts, you don't have to do it like a man. It's not all on him. I knew what the go was. I accepted anyway, so there's that. Maybe I don't know the context. Apologize again. I think he's fighting with Roswell.
Alright, class is now in session.
Haas jogged over to the entertainment system and started messing with it, humming to himself. So, am I gonna regret agreeing to this? How much Haas was talking this up, it can't hurt, right? Yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh, yeah, they're doing anime. Great.
Yep.
Alright, moment of truth, Tyson. You a dubs guy or a subs guy?
The fuck
I'm
did
a
you just
dom
ask
guy.
me?
And that's how that scene's gonna go.
It sounds like it.
Not that hard of a question, dubs or subs.
If it's a choice between the two, I'd have to say dub, right? What makes you say that, Dean? Rub-a-dub-dub, right?
I want to die.
Alright. Fuck off, that's not what that means. Does it really matter? Can't believe that Haas is wrong about anime on top of being this annoying about anime. This conversation
important.
writes itself, so you know what he means when he says what the right answer is, but he's also wrong about what the right answer is.
It's very important. If you pick wrong, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I will judge you for it.
Pop, help me out here. Oh, right, so subs is short for subtitles, and dubs is, dub titles, obviously. Easy.
Not even close.
Do I have to read if I pick the dub title one?
It's not dub titles.
What can it be? Dean, why are you here?
You're not funny. It's not funny. This isn't a joke.
You are not selling me on the Dean route right now. Because this isn't cute. It's just irritating. What if I added pointless fluff to the conversation of where I just make noises at you? I caught Ty smirking. He was doing this on purpose, and it seemed as though Dean had picked up on a chance to razz Haas too. Maybe we should stick to dub titles, Haas.
Not you too, Dave. I'll have you know there's a fine art of dubbing something over. It's not as easy as you think.
But what is it?
Imagine taking a video and then talking over it, but you need to also make sure the amount of time a character is talking for matches how long it takes to say the line.
Doesn't sound too hard, just put the volume down and talk over it, right?
Not quite, then you have to worry about the music and sound effects.
Bit too complicated for me, sorry. Is it really that hard? I mean, we're not gonna dub the anime. They're really making this confusing.
It takes some work, but I've done an episode or two of fan dubbing. We could watch those instead if you want. Do you have internet?
This is a fan-based parody. Please support the
Have you had
release.
internet this whole time? Have you had internet this whole time?
Yes.
They have the internet.
Yes. They have phones.
No. But they're in the rec room watching anime on the TV. Is he suggesting that they're going to watch an episode of a fan dub he made on the internet, on the TV? They could have, the signal jammer only jams cell phone signals. They could have called the cops. What the fuck? Oh no.
Oh no, you're saying that they just introduced a hardline internet.
Yes.
And no one thought, all right. Well, they didn't have time to think about it. The road was only out for 10 days straight.
I don't like it.
No. No. Not right now. Next time, maybe.
Well, fine. We'll watch the first episode dubbed and go from there, although I warn you that subs is typically the way to go.
I hate you. Dean and Tyson went and grabbed beanbags while Haas finished setting things up. I thought back to the movie night and wondered. Tyson wanted some more cuddle time, although I don't know how he'd feel about sharing a beanbag in the company of others, but maybe that'd be something he'd want? Then again, I could always just get my own beanbag, but where was the fun in that? Sit next to... In a game where you lock into a path so hard, it's very strange to unpack the choices where you can just... All the choices are basically, do you want to do the route, or weirdly not do the route?
Yep.
Which, given that you have to play the game 6 times for all the routes in order to complete it, I don't know what those are for. I watched as Ty wandered over, dragging 2 beanbags behind him and shooting me a confused look. What? Nothing. You weirdo, I got you a beanbag. Hey, I did too. Well, for Haas. We need 4 roll up anyway, right? Right, but...
You need 4 for watching anime, or you need 4 beanbags?
4 beanbags. He grabbed 4 beanbags for the 4 of us, but they're weirdly prescribing who they were grabbing it for, and now we got an awkward conflict between the person that we've been engaged with the entire trip and Dean, who's also here. What do you mean you didn't want to sit next to me with my beanbag I got for you? It's me, Dean. Lovable character, very memorable from this whole playthrough. We've seen him so much. Ty dropped both the beanbags down and dropped himself into the closest one. You know, Dave, don't necessarily need to sit in a beanbag if you don't want.
You can get teabagged. Ha! This is my whole character.
I can give you the horror bun special. What do you mean? Want to sit in my lap? Or my lap can sit on you.
What? Read the fucking room, Dean.
Yeah, Dean sounds insane right now because we've never interacted with him.
I just
like, what the fuck is this relationship? Now, hold on, he has his own fucking beanbag. Hey, figured I'd at least ask. I reckon I might be just as comfy. He's not sitting in your lap, Dean. Right. Well, alright then. Ty rolled his eyes, looking over to Haas. This is when I made my move. What? I half dove on Ty, half on the beanbag he'd sat next to him, presumably for me. Watch
this
it,
is
yeah?
like continuing the fact that Dave is just like a completely different character this arc in a way that's really confusing.
Yeah, it's... A hand found
Maybe
my
this
shoulder.
is just him in the A route, and the B route is the route that happens if Dave just isn't a character.
I can't speak to even what the intent of B route was, or what it was going for. Like, it never... I have no idea what its goal was. I think it literally just started with the hypothetical of like, what if Osmond died? that would really shake up the narrative. And then there was no actual outline for how it'd be different from the main route, so it just...
Yeah.
It just kept happening, but nothing was happening. A hand found my shoulder, but he made no effort to push me away. In fact, it didn't even leave my shoulder as I propped myself up and cuddled into the spot under his arm, using it as a pillow. Comfy? Well, maybe a little? Wow, it's immediate regret is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Hey now, what happened to him having his own beanbag? You two aren't, you know. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Of course, but... I felt Ty's hand on my shoulder tense a little. This is bothering you, Ty. I can go sit in my own beanbag. I don't really mind. I just thought, nope, you're not going anywhere. As if to emphasize his point, his other hand reached over to swing my legs over his lap. This is fine. Well, hold on. I wouldn't mind something cleared up. What?
It's funny how in this route Dean is perceptive about flirting and physical contact, but in the Sal route he's best friends with Sal until we crush his heart, and he had no idea that something was developing between us and Sal until we told him and broke his illusion 22 days into the plot.
Admittedly, it's just there wasn't anything with Sal.
It's fair.
Like we were pursuing overt signs of affection here, and with
I guess he hopped on a beanbag with his best friend who he brought on the trip. That he's the only one that. Literally, Dave is the only person that likes Tyson. You can assume that they would be friendly. Hopping on a beanbag next to someone isn't really that sexual until you put your legs over on them.
Ow. But there was just absolutely nothing with Sal. There was nothing. There were no signs.
Except all the time we spent with him and all the time we hung out with him.
They aren't, you know.
Yeah.
Hell, even when Dean showed up for swim pool lessons, it was like fucking Orlando was the main character that day. And then Dave and Sal were also there. Let's restart voice real quick because it's bad. Discord is a shitty service. Discord is a shitty service. Discord is a shitty service. He's not back.
Alright, can you hear me?
Yep.
Don't really know what the deal was, but...
It's bad. Everything's bad.
Great.
Back to Haas.
Is it still bad?
I think we're good.
Okay. Everyone comfy and ready to start? Is what I'd want to ask if I wasn't just over there and could hear everything you guys were talking about.
Wow.
You know?
Thank you, Haas. Everyone
bags.
is being as awkward as physically possible, but you just decided to add to that.
It's
Why
just
is
weird
everyone
that
being so weird today?
4 people are in a room. Four people are in a room getting beanbags. There's nothing really that weird going on. Even the conversation they're having isn't that weird.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, is what I'd ask if I wasn't over there and could hear everything you guys were talking about.
Everyone comes across as like weirdly policing Dave and his behavior and declaring things about him, and then fucking Dean is like, why don't you sit in my lap? And it's just weird. How the fuck do you recover from that, Dean? What the fuck are you doing? Then he's like, oh, well now I'm gonna judge all your other actions because you're not sitting in my lap. I'm like, that's not fair. And then Haas is like, I'm gonna like get weirdly elaborate on how weird everyone's being, and we're gonna just every single person is just destroying this interaction. I'm slowly melting. Yep. I can't handle these people.
It's very weird to me for someone to be like standing 3 feet away from you and then being like, what's going on, guys, is what I would ask if I wasn't here standing 3 feet away from you, having heard and been party to your entire conversation. It's like, yeah, we know. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's the weirdest possible way to say, you know I can hear you, right? But also a weird time to say that. Because, of course, what? Why are you acting like we're... I don't even know what he means. I don't get it. Like, it's like we're having a private conversation in front of him loudly and he feels the need to like point it out or something, but it's not, except there's no context where Dean makes sense here. No one's a person.
What's happening exactly? Oh, he's just an idiot.
I just it's designed to be like, this is like a fear, this is a nightmare, like when like in a children's movie, like when everything possible is going wrong, to specifically create a nightmare scenario where it's having like the fisheye lens and everything's alien and terrifying. It's like, oh, what are you, a gay guy who did one moment of public affection for just a moment? What if that became the entire topic of every single person in the room and that's all that everyone's thinking about? Now the entire activity is paused and everyone's just discussing the thing you did? I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just did one motion. Everyone fucking chill. Why is this an essay?
Yeah.
You and Dave, you're not dating, right?
Really? That's what the problem is? I assumed with how buddy-buddy they've been lately, they must be.
Tyson roughly shoved me away, getting his feet to prod aggressively at Haas's chest. I'm not gay. Haas didn't even flinch, glancing down at the finger still held against his chest before gently brushing it aside.
And...
What do you mean, and?
So you like to cuddle dudes?
Seems pretty gay to me. I'm not.
Then it's simple. Just say no homo. Okay, ha ha ha, that's so funny.
The fuck? What do you mean?
Ha 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 ha. If it makes you feel better, just say no homo. Might make you feel better and make it clearer for Dave.
This isn't the problem. The problem is everybody else is saying homo at us. We were just sitting here. All of you guys are being weird. No, homo. Ty seemed shaken, repeating the words over to himself as if confused, quiet, and eyes drawn to the floor. He fell back into his own beanbag awkwardly, keeping his eyes away from me. Glad we got that cleared up. Nope. Should tell me what kind of women you like sometime, Tyson. Might know someone to introduce you to. He made a non-committal grunt while Haas hit the lights. I'd watched the show before, or parts of it. Haas seemed to be in a constant state of deciding where the best place to start the show was. There was another one like it, seemingly about the Holy Grail that you could watch in any order, except you couldn't without spoiling parts of it? What are you talking about? It was all a little too serious for me, but if it made him happy, then I was happy to just watch whatever. I preferred the ones that have a mix of exciting events and lighthearted fun. After the first episode, I looked to see how Tyson was faring, and he seemed to be interested enough to keep watching. Dean seemed distracted, but he hadn't made a move to leave the room just yet. Maybe he was willing to sit through it as much as it seemed he wasn't enjoying it. Haas, on the other hand, as expected, had a smile plastered on his face and just jumped up to start the next episode the moment the end credits had finished.
He actually sat through the end credits?
This is a really good outro song. Jumped up? Like, to the VCR? Like, what is he interacting with? But like, what is he getting up? By the second episode, though.
Everyone enjoying so far? It's like when you show your friend a YouTube video that you swear is funny.
Learn that mistake fast. Just never share anything with your friends, actually. Never give anyone anything to watch when it takes the form of showing them in person. Because then you're just like, all you can think about is how people are thinking about the thing and whether or not they're reacting or whether or not they're enjoying it. It's actually just a really bad feeling. Although one of the worst examples of this was being on the receiving end, which is that at my old house, one of my housemates held out their phone to show me a funny video, but they did so over the entire kitchen island, just leaning forward at an awkward angle, and they just held out that video of Yoda singing about seagulls or whatever for like 3 minutes. Just aired the whole thing. It was like that bad lip reading channel where the joke is he says little random things instead of the thing he said in the movie, and now it's a music video remix of that scene from some other comedy video we made or something, probably. And he just was holding it out for me and looking into my eyes for my reaction while I'm just seeing Yoda from the famous movie Star Wars. It's just the movie scene, but somebody doing an impression said that something about birds, and there's backing music. I have no fucking clue what's supposed to be entertaining or funny about this, or what it's even a joke about, or what it's just impenetrable to me. And it just that those 3 minutes lasted 100 years. I'm still there to this day in some ways. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm down to keep going. What's wrong, Dean? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Not your thing, big guy?
Not exactly. What about if we switch? We could find something that we can all like, right? No, that's alright. I'll go make myself busy elsewhere. Dean got up, stretching out his arms. Still, it was good to try something for a bit, something a bit different. Might go check in on the crops then. Might go for a stroll on my own.
Oh, Dean seems to be taking this whole thing so nicely. He's completely fine.
He's fine. He'll be fine.
He's gonna go out to the garden and dissociate for 24 hours again.
Dave, no. Dave, no. Don't do this.
You're an idiot.
Part of me worried about Dean being by himself, fearing something could happen. I couldn't ask that of you, given how comfy you look. Besides, some quality me time never hurts.
I just want to know what
penis.
I want to know what Dean sees in Dave. I don't like
know what
Dean.
Anyone sees in
I don't
Dave.
like Dean, but I just don't. What is he seeing him? Why is Dean fucking dogging for Dave so hard? When Dave just doesn't have a personality and doesn't make any choices and isn't interested in Dean. It's different to like pine over someone who like has a personality and like, I don't know.
And is 6 years younger than you.
There's a reason why Ingrid Goes West is about a girl stalking someone who lives an interesting life. You know, like that's the point of it. But being like, oh yeah, he's my flame. I've got a flame burning for Dave is just like the guy that sits alone in his room all day and does nothing? What? What are you talking about?
I don't think I know how they met.
I don't know. I don't care.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think I know of a single interaction they had before they got on the bus.
Yeah.
And that's like really rough because I just have no fucking context for what their relationship is beyond the weirdness. Like, well, the only thing we seem to know is that he seemed to be into Dave when he was at least as young as 17.
Yeah.
Which isn't a great place to be the only thing I know. Which that's just a rough thing about these older characters that are here for some reason. I don't know why they're older. I don't know why they're so much older. Like,
yeah.
They go well beyond the age range of like the Flynn dynamic. And even that was like, here's a tiny town with 6 gay people in it. But also like, this is like, everyone's a high school friend group. Where are these older characters coming from? Why are they older? I don't get what they're going for.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, feels like a story written about teenagers that they needed to age up because it was porn. And then they ended up having a weird age group and weird relationships that don't make any sense in real life, and it's just bizarre. Well, if you're sure, welcome to try and find something else if you did want to stay, though.
Yeah, what you said. How about we just watch something I pick next time?
Done deal.
Alright, well, you have fun, I'll see you a lot later. What now?
I can put the next episode on. I can put on the next episode if you want.
Sure. You know, I didn't think you'd like anime, Ty. I've seen 2 episodes, give me a break.
You have many to come, buddy.
Buddy?
Sure, why not? We're best friends.
It just happened. That's how quick it goes. I don't... Ty looked to me, then back to Haas.
What? You gonna say that I'm just a nuisance instead?
I can see the cogs turning in his head, unsure of what to say. Ty? I don't know. Not used to it.
Really?
Outside Dave, don't really do the friends thing.
Why is that?
People suck. Except Dave. I felt his hand grip my shoulder slightly harder when he said my name.
Well, we're gonna have to change that. Can't have you being a lone wolf your whole life. An anime is great at bringing people together.
Except Dean.
Okay, maybe it's not a perfect record, but still.
Oh no. What? Haas, you're not going to claim that you have the power of anime on your side, are you?
Well, no, but I do. Haha, get it? It's like the meme.
It's friendship and anime. I'm not going to regret sitting through more of this, am I? Hey, you were hardly just sitting through it. You were liking it, right?
He totally was.
Just shut up and put the next episode on. I don't like that that's the beginning of their relationship, of them becoming friends, because it wasn't of them interacting. Like, Haas just likes anime and put on anime and sat over there watching the anime while we sat over here cuddling and watching the anime. And he's like, we're friends now, is his way of reacting to Tyson. And I'm like, this was not a scene about us interacting. So that's just a very strange takeaway. It doesn't like actually feature bonding, but it's declared to be them bonding afterwards. Despite Ty's attitude, we had a good enough time, I think. After the next episode, he started to get more chatty and asked Haas stuff about the show. Not that I was really paying attention. I was comfy, cuddled up to Ty, and he was lightly scratching the top of my head while talking to Haas. I didn't really get the show, so I let them talk. It was rare to see Ty ask so many questions, but rarer still to see Haas answer each one without raving about the content. After each episode, there'd be a few minutes to talk about stuff, but I mostly just kept quiet and let the other two have at it.
Well, that's it.
What?
That's it. For part 1, at least.
Oh, so there are more parts?
Of course.
So why did I say that's it? Oh, good.
They're watching, I think they're watching
Oh, it was
JoJo.
JoJo's.
But that's a long time. I'm
No,
gonna look up the
it's 6
episode count.
episodes.
No, it's not. What?
Part 1 is super short. Part 1 isn't even a season.
Phantom Blood. Let's look at this.
I just watched it like a few months ago. Part 1 is like 6 episodes long. It's like barely a story. that's a weird way to put it. It's like, you have the hyper condensed Dio episode that's in the past. Then it time skips to modern day, or their modern day for that season. And like 5 episodes happen, and then it's like suddenly we're on a ship. We're ending bad end.
9 episodes long.
Ow.
It's 9 episodes long.
It's still,
yeah,
it's
I'm
very
looking
short.
at it.
That's 3 hours.
I guess that's 3 hours, yeah.
Yeah. It's short.
What, you thought that'd be the end of the story?
Kind of is. Kind of starts a new story at that point. No? The part with the decapitated head was weird. Ty just wants more is all. I'm so flabbergasted at the idea of admitting that I enjoyed anything ever and want to see it for some reason. I don't know what this characterization is. I don't know what the fuck I don't understand Tyson.
So you're a fan of anime too now, Tyson?
Also, maybe put the part where you call him buddy and you're like, wait, what? Like at the end of the scene. Especially after the montage section where they like actually chatted for hours instead of the part before where they didn't talk at all. And then you're like, I'm your friend now. What's wrong, Ty? Nothing, just didn't realize this was what you like to watch. Probably would have let you pick more if that was the case.
Oh no, if you had Dave to pick, you'd be in a very different position. His tastes are well...
Hey, what I like is fine. Sure, I might not get be the same as that, but...
I'm cringing at the idea of a JoJo's fan being like, you don't have high quality taste, Dave. It's like, you like the most mainstream thing ever that is like explicitly not high art and like extremely goofy and dumb
Yeah.
over the top meme shit. Like, what are you talking about? Do not act like you have like enlightened taste, Haas.
JoJo's seems neat, but anybody that tried to get it'd be deeply embarrassing if somebody was like did the Rick and Morty meme of like you
Yeah,
like a high
exactly.
IQ to understand JoJo's. It's not everyone can.
It's like, no,
can
this is
accept-
actually
can get into this extremely
nonsense.
popular anime. Haas waved me off, rolling his eyes before addressing Tyson with a tone of curiosity.
Overall, what did you think?
I'd watch more.
Thought you might like it. It gets better as far as the punching goes, but it's always good to start at the beginning.
Yeah, I like the drive of that guy who became a vampire. That was hardcore.
Of course you'd like him. He's not even the protagonist.
And Haas is making that face. Haas, I don't like you. It's not even the fact that you like anime, it's that you like anime annoyingly. His art opinions are annoying. He should be. He's cool.
He's not even the protagonist. You have to like the protagonist of the show. That's the one, the character everyone loves.
You're only allowed
here
to
you thought-
sympathize with the main person who's the good guy, Protago man.
And here you thought road rollers were lame. You're an idiot. He doesn't even use a road roller in part 1, you stupid fucking dummy. What the fuck? Stop quoting memes.
Yeah, I don't even know what a road roller is, so I don't think that's been introduced in any of the pre.
He drops like a street, like a cement road roller on someone in part 3.
Yeah.
And it's like part of the big meme of Dio is that he does the road roller thing and then he goes ree, and then everyone claps because of the memes. JoJo's. This is the entirety of the enjoyment of JoJo's as a fandom.
I didn't make it to the stands.
Yeah.
They were still calling their powers Hamon
Yeah.
all the
Ripple.
time. And there was a whole part where they went up, I think they went up a cliff for an hour. Because the extreme time dilation on that show.
Yep.
What? Don't tell me.
Yep. But I'll guess you'll just have to see how that plays out. Get it? You're gonna eat crow about thinking a road roller is lame because of a meme.
Yeah, I'm referencing something that happens like 4 times as deep into the show as the part you actually watched, as if you just watched it.
I gotcha. I asked you a question out of context about road rollers once, and now I'm holding it against you.
Do you think that this is a section where that's about referencing JoJo's, but having not seen JoJo's, just referencing what people say about JoJo's?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't care.
Fine, whatever. When are we watching the next part? Eager much? Okay, when you think somebody has trouble coming out of their shell or whatever, and they're expressing interest in a thing and it's going exactly as you hoped or whatever, like maybe don't keep highlighting that their behavior is different over and over again so that they feel weird and like focused on. Like even the queer stuff aside, just the whole beanbag thing becoming the sole focus and topic of everyone in the room was just like, okay, this is my exact fear with anxiety, is just that everyone will make my actions the main event of what's happening right now, and then that's the topic. And so similarly, like just let people just like stuff, just enjoy your friends, don't constantly point out things they're doing. It gets weird. Shut it.
Well, not tonight. It's more than just 9 episodes, so if you want to binge it, probably best we save it for another day.
Oh, well, what should we do now? Dunno.
It needs to smash cut to day 10 right after he says that.
Every time the game's like, I guess there's nothing to do or whatever, it should just time skip to 3 days later.
Yes. I might go see where Dean ended up, see how the crops are going too. I like how they're calling them crops. It's
Crops.
Fucking greenhouse.
I think they were technically
It's not a
like
field
crops.
of wheat. Like, what
They've got
fuck?
a pumpkin in the greenhouse. It's like greenhouse pumpkins.
Wow.
That doesn't seem practical. I don't know. Especially with how big it apparently was. I don't know how they got through doors? Or out of the greenhouse? Really?
Gotta do something until it's time for dinner. What are you two planning on doing?
I craned my neck to look at Tyson, seeing him thoughtful. Just gonna chill with Dave, probably.
Sweet. Well, you two have fun. I'll see you at dinner.
I watched as Haas wandered off with a wave, stretching as he crossed the threshold and disappeared out of sight. Cuddled up to Tyson, the two of us sat there in silence for a few moments. So, yeah. He kneaded my shoulder, jaw clenched. Did I do alright? What do you mean? Making friends, I mean. Well, I think so. But you don't just become friends with someone after hanging out once. That's just, even though that's apparently what happened. It takes a few times at least. Oh. I expected a follow-up, but there wasn't. Instead, he sighed out, shaking his head. Makes sense. I shouldn't, you know. I really don't, Ty. Come on, tell me. I was hoping this would be easy. Well, it's a good start, plus Haas is sharing things with you, too. Yeah. And I guess worst case scenario, you still have a backup. A backup? Dean? Don't know how much your future boyfriend is a sure thing friend-wise. I sat up, rolling over so I was sitting in Ty's lap facing him, hands supporting me by finding purchase on his chest. I mean me, Ty. You? Of course. Always. Ty laughed, taking one of my hands in his and giving it a squeeze. You fucking dork. You're already my best friend. Don't care if you're the only one. You're enough. That wasn't... Then... His smile faded fast, looking at me as the frown started to form. It eased back, settled, then eased back until he was just looking at me with an expression I couldn't place. It eased back, then settled, then eased... Whatever. You didn't mean that, did you? No, I meant it. Friends, right? Don't lie to me. Okay, here we go, I guess. I guess I should finish my thought on the previous thing, which is just like, I don't understand why they talk about the concept of friendship like it's like it's just like they're aliens. They're explaining the premise of friendship like none of them have heard of it before. Like,
maybe I've just lived a very blessed life, but I've had a lot of really deep conversations with people, and in none of those conversations, or in a startlingly small amount of those conversations, has the topic ever shifted to, hey, I know I spent tons of time with you and hang out with you all the time and we're on a trip together, but are we friends? What's friendship? How do you even define this? Like, this is one of those weird, like, furry VN
insane
things.
Details. Like, it's like the salad shit, where it's just like, he's explaining friendships like they're JRPG tutorial social link shit. It's like, well, you like, it's like the little mascot's gonna talk directly to the camera with the text box, like, well, it's not that easy. You don't become a friend just by hanging out with somebody once. You actually have to do it exactly 3 times to fill the meter. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are the human characters talking like this about their relationships? And they're all supposed to be adults, so like, I just can't stress enough that like a young adult or someone in their 20s and so on, like, who struggles socially for a variety of reasons, isn't going to need the very premise of friendship explained to them like a tutorial. They have deep-seated issues that they're probably aware of, that they're trying to work through, and that's like the thing they're talking at or around. They wouldn't be like, oh man, what is friendship anyway? How do I max out their social link? And also like,
it's just like a deeply unwell way of thinking about stuff.
Yeah, but like, he's also like, I thought this would be easy. I'm like, you hung out and watched a show together, and he was friendly, and nothing was needed of you. What do you mean you hoped it would be easy? Yeah, this is extremely easy. Nothing's happening. There was no conflict, no effort, no work. You just hung out.
This is something I've seen in a few furry visual novels, but also just like from furries in general. And I don't know if this is like a neurodivergence thing or what, but like I've definitely seen and had conversations with people on like Discord where people are like, are we friends? Am I allowed to message you? I hope I'm not bothering you. And I'm like, you sent me a message on Discord and I responded plainly. Like, what do you mean, are we friends? Is this a problem? Messaging me is not a huge, like,
yeah.
you know,
I get it on
grievance
some
upon
level
my
in that,
soul.
like, if you aren't like real life acquaintances, there's like an element of interacting online where you have trouble gauging whether or not you're talking to somebody that actually wants to talk to you regularly, or if you're just bothering them or so on. And trying to figure out where you stand because you haven't interacted in like normal people do in real life and so on. But
I guess my point is
none of that online stuff is affecting them, so it's so weird.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that that's like it's like a viewpoint that I think comes from being terminally online and being written by someone maybe who is very terminally online, and like this idea of like this fixation, this struggle, it's so juvenile to me in a way that is hard to identify with, and is just like so unwell. And I get that these games are marketed towards largely people who are very unwell, but this constant like hand wringing about like, it's day 9 on a vacation that you invited me on, even though other people here have issues with me. We're stuck on a mountain and all we've been doing is hanging out together. Are we even friends? And it's like, what? What are you talking about? Chill out. Just live your life, dude. Just like do things. I've gone on more caustic vacations with my friends that are disastrous and had heated arguments and fights and like quote unquote like friendship shattering drama. And there's never been a point where I'm like, are you not my friend anymore? It's just like, just live. You have friends are just people you associate with. That's all it means. It's not like a Sims meter that you raise to a certain point and then you can woohoo for a baby. That's not how friendship works. Friendship is just a repeating pattern of people that you hang out with that don't want to kill you. Like, it's not that complicated.
It's and to be clear, because it's easy to characterize this conversation as us not getting the point of Tyson, but like,
yeah,
no, it's supposed to be about how he has trouble feeling like he doesn't see himself as being worth it, either romantically or for friendship and so on, and so he struggles with the idea of that he's good enough. But the conversations, like, it's just the writing isn't ready to like actually grapple with that in the way that a person that has those issues actually behaves or speaks. So instead, he just sounds actually insane because he'll keep acting like it's in question whether or not him and Dave are friends when he was literally adopted into their family. Not literally adopted, but he was figuratively adopted into their family, and they're so obviously friends that this entire struggle doesn't even really come up unless you're in his route, because he very clearly also knows that they're friends in the rest of the writing. Like, it just doesn't. Literally, the struggle doesn't make sense. They're brothers.
His dad, Dave's dad, in the past from this moment, was calling Tyson his other son.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
It's similar to the whole thing of like all the weird, because like he was also earlier doing a thing where it's like he clearly has feelings for Dave and he clearly is on some level gay, but he's not ready to accept the idea that he's gay. So he's doing the thing where you like kind of like sexually assault people in the form of bullying, in order, like, with all the oh, my balls are on your face and stuff like that, and all the weird harassment sort of lines. Those are forms of bullying that is like it comes up a lot in queer fantasy stuff of this absurdity of like, it's obviously like the thing he's doing isn't socially acceptable, but there is a weird level in which it's a socially acceptable way of being gay, because it adds all this plausible deniability that's you like screwing with the gay person to bully them, and somehow all these actions in this context of bullying aren't gay.
Don't reflect on you, they reflect on them. Yeah.
And so like there's a version of that leads up to him confessing his true feelings or grappling with those individual elements technically can add up to that kind of story. And so somebody that looks at us making fun of that part of the story would be like, but that does make sense. And it's like, no, if you ignore the actual delivery and execution and even the sequence of events that's happening in the game, and instead just make a bullet pointed list that describes the individual events, then you can look at that list and see that as being a reasonable story. But it's all in the details of how it's actually laid out and what they're actually saying in each scene and what order the things are happening in, where everything gets so alien and baffling that everyone sounds like they're simultaneously in a explicit furry visual novel and are Dora the Explorer characters. Like there's they're written like children, but all the events happen out of order, and it's like the through lines just don't work, even though we get it. It's not that we don't understand what it's going for, but that's not the same thing as doing it well.
Yeah, completely.
I suddenly felt myself falling backwards as he shoved me onto my back, pinning me down by the shoulders. Don't lie. I squeaked under his frown. What did you want me to say? What about your fucking want for me to be honest? Don't I get the same thing? I don't know. He grabbed me roughly by the wrist, pinning me further to the floor. I don't know, Ty. The fuck do you want, Dave? I quaked under him, stammering. I don't... Say you don't know one more time, pup. Say it. It was a dare. One that I was scared to follow through with. There were few things that were able to make me cry these days, but Ty was one of them. That's... upsetting.
That's... Okay, so one... He hasn't cried since his dad died, but also accept all the times where he's cried since his dad died.
Yeah.
And I have, you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna litigate it. I'm over it.
He's just not supposed to be able to cry, but also that's just a deeply upsetting line to hear about Ty and the 500th red flag. He's all red flags. He's never had more. No character has ever had more red flags. What the fuck?
Except if you're on the B route, when Tyson is the most reasonable and supportive brother character ever because of all of his backstory, where he's your supportive and loving brother who turned around and was a better person.
My password is betrayal because this game fucking turned on me. It tricked me. Not out of the same sort of fear that can come from the fear of being bullied or physically harmed. Something deeper, something darker. Cut this person out of your life, Jesus Christ. Everyone else is right, actually. Ty, you're scaring me.
I don't think everyone else is right. I think we should give Tyson the bully pass, but he should bully Roswell into not existing. That's the true end. Give me
Tyson's
that, please.
Just deeply upsetting. It's actually getting really fucked up. Like, he's just... I hate this character so much now.
He's the evil bad guy, but he's focusing on the wrong person to take out. We need him to slasher villain all of the characters we don't like.
No sooner
which is all of the characters.
Yes.
So
no sooner than I'd seen it, no sooner than I'd said it, he froze, eyes wide in shock, looking down at me. He eased off, delicate, almost as if he was scared he was about to break something and was doing what he could to stop that from happening. I breathed out, heart beating fast in my chest. I'm sorry, But he didn't let me up. I was still under him. Though I had the impression that he wouldn't have been hard to move, I really wanted him to move. Tyson. Yes? What's the matter? Really? Did I do something? No. Was it something I said? Not that either. Then, in a cruel twist of irony, I laughed at what Tyson came out with next. I don't know. I was too late I was too late to stifle my laughter with my hand, instead coming out closer to an amused snort. Still, I was thankful that Ty didn't make another move on me for doing it. Okay, fine, I do know, alright? You're not the only one that's been out of it lately, yeah? Why didn't you say anything? What would you have done? Probably tell me, it's alright, Ty. Or, if you want to talk, I'll listen. It's true, though. That's probably the worst part. I bring it up, you'll be upset, and then where will that get us? You mean... it's your dad. This is about our dad? It just... I thought they were trying to go for a thing about, like, this is how abuse victims act. But I'm like, and I was worried trying to unpack that. But because in a similar way, there was an element of, like, here's violent outbursts from Sal. This is how somebody with PTSD acts. And I'm like, I don't think they choke you out over the pool like you're Saren, but okay. I fell limp, gulping. Look.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That was funny to me for some reason, but...
It's just a lot. It's just Shepherd. It's just fucking you're on Vermeer and you're getting choked out by Saren over that cliff. Like that's what Sal did.
I get the reference, Keith.
Yeah.
I've played Mass Effect.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
You understand, I watched my sister die because I just didn't save her. I just didn't. She was dying and she's like, help me, and then I just watched. And I got PTSD from that. You might think I had PTSD already because of how I reacted to her dying, but no, that wasn't a trigger, actually. I didn't have PTSD yet, and then I just watched her die and gave myself PTSD, which manifests the same way as how I was behaving when I froze and watched her die in the first place, without PTSD. It's fine. Everyone always says, write what you know. Look. Look, you're not the only one that misses him, alright? Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's almost like your brothers.
Yeah. He was more of a dad than mine was to me, anyway. How does this connect to the previous scene? This is the fourth time where Tyson has some kind of explosion or something, and some kind of... or a scene that leads to an explosion, and the two halves don't seem related at all. Like, it's really hard to draw an emotional connection between how this got here. Like, don't you dare say that you care about me in the long term. You liar. How could you lie to me? We're not friends. How do you lie about me being friends? Listen, I'm also sad your dad's dead. What? How are these the same scene? I don't understand. When you say that you want your dad because you're confused, I get it. But I wouldn't give for some advice right now. I was almost scared to ask. Listen, I sexually assaulted your son and I'm trying to figure out how to walk it back. Can you help me out? I don't think the dad's gonna be a great source of advice, Tyson. About what? You really want to know? Of course I do, Ty. I'd ask him if I was good, if I was worth something. As I went to say something, it cut me off, continuing. I know I'm worth something. I meant more than that. Like more than the $5 that I'll get at the lethal company. It was alright to be feeling things. Reference humor. Like what? Don't worry about it. Ty. Fine. It's you. I don't get how or why you do these things to me, but you do. It hurts in a way that I don't know how to hurt anyone. Like, you're under my fur, under my fucking skin. And sometimes I don't want that feeling to go. Other times I try clawing it out with how much it hurts. So it's a bad feeling? Dave! Sometimes. Doesn't happen all the time. It's only happening lately. I don't get it. Are you just jealous? The fuck would I be jealous for? What the fuck would he be jealous for? Of who? I don't know, that maybe you want something you don't know you want? I get that sometimes. I don't get it. Okay? Just... You know how sometimes I get cranky and you seem to know what I need to make me feel better? Yeah, you're not yourself with that when you're hungry. Here's a Snickers. Well, it's like that, but for you. I need help figuring out what you need, I guess. Oh. Well, I guess I'm a better friend than you, because of how I can do it on my own, but you need instructions from the person that doesn't know. Okay. That'll work out great. But what I think you need, and what I can give you are two different things. Oh. But Ty? Yeah? Did you, tonight, what? Would you spend the night with me? Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm a mess. Ugh. Hold on, let me think. Can you get off me first? Ty rolled so he was laying on his side on the floor, looking at me. I had an idea. Oh yeah? How about a shower? Together? I don't know. It'd help me get that spot on my back. Plus it'd be there to check, right? Still, naked, together. You said you've done it before, wasn't the implication that you've done that before? Were you reaching in fully clothed to get the spot on Dave's back while he was naked in the shower? I don't understand. It's even more awkward somehow. Well, it's just an idea. We can get clean separately. I could brush you before bed, you could brush me, and we could just, I don't know, chill, brushing and chill.
You were literally gonna have sex with him. Like, not Dave, I mean Tyson. I still don't understand the hang. This is just my thing.
Tyson already made eye contact with Dave's puckering asshole.
Yeah, the threshold has been breached. Like, this is... I understand that one is significantly more intimate than the other, and one of them was bad. That wasn't, like, good threshold to breach for him. But it's just weird to put that particular cat back into the bag.
Like, he already winked at you. Ty sighed out heavily, eyes drawn to the floor before flicked up at me. Yeah, alright. I'll decide later if I'll join you, but yeah, that sounds nice. Just like back home, nothing has to change. Nothing has to be different. We can, I don't know, watch videos on my phone or something, just... I rolled forward into him, sighing out and covering my face with my hands. I'm starting to break. I need something that's familiar again. Alright. That's a weird line. I understand it's because stress of Oz introduced the death game to you and you might have had a dad dream already for all I know, but like, you just cuddled with Tyson while he scratched the spot on top of your head for 3 hours.
Correct.
Much like the we're friends now dialogue, it's just not, this conversation's not happening in the right place. Like, this would be an excuse to embrace dumb anime day and hang out with Tyson and so on, and then you can progress from there. But saying I'm breaking and I need something normal after 3 hours of watching JoJo's while cuddling is a weird line.
Yeah.
Then what should we do until it's time for dinner? That's when we fuck, because nothing happens in the right order in the story. How late you slept.
It's just
you're not having
so
another
clear
nap.
to me. It's just so clear to me that so much of this game was written scene by scene, like as if they were like index cards being shuffled, independent of the actual things happening next to them.
It feels like the people that are big fans of this could be fooled by predictive text generators writing stories, because each sentence sounds like it makes sense, and you don't think about what happened before or after, and that doesn't bother you. Yeah. So each sentence is pretty good at sounding like a sentence, so...
This game came out before ChatGPT. I'm not going to fact check that. That's just a fact in my head. I'm not going to litigate that. I'm not going to think about it.
I'm not trying to introduce the idea that there's an AI-generated free visual novel, but yeah.
Nope, you're not trying to, but the thought is in my head now.
Oh no! Well, we're, already here. Could play games, could watch something. I don't know. Sure, I guess. No? Don't want to force you to do anything you don't want, Ty. That should go without saying. Yeah, okay. Weird thing to say out loud. Jeez, that's not what I meant. What I meant is that you should be the one playing the game. And what will you be doing? I'll just sit next to you, watching. Aw, come on, Ty. Play with me. No, just want to watch. Besides, you need the practice. I wandered over to the... Just imagining it like this. If this was Chase and Carl, it'd just be like, I'm not really feeling like it. How about I just watch? End of line. Just like,
yep.
Just talking like people. Just talk like people. Why do they say it so weirdly? Everything is said so strangely. they talk about it like they have to explain the concept of watching a video game, and neither of them understand the idea. Like, he just thought of it for the first time. I wandered over to the games and picked something out, something easy. I don't know why, and I think part of me wanted to try and impress Ty, despite not being the best at games to begin with. It was hardly new information for him anyway. The few times he'd watched me play games, it was just simple ones. Ones that were more about just making stuff at a leisurely pace. There were a few times where he'd gotten me to try something scary, but after the first time he got me to the point of crying, he promised he wouldn't make me do that again.
Like friends do, you know? Setting up their previous relationship that the game has up to this point acted like doesn't exist.
They just play video games a lot and have a whole history of interacting. Wearing a fond smile on my face, I wandered back over with a wireless controller and sat with Ty, whittling the time down until it was time for dinner. Time.
Is the implication that Tyson hasn't seen Dave since his dad died? Is there supposed to be a schism or not? I can't tell.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Tyson's
just a thought.
Written to have spent time with Dave and is part of how he got through this or something.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
But yeah, everything that happened outside of the mansion is so poorly defined that it's just very difficult to say anything definitive about any character relationship or what anyone was doing up until the day they showed up on a bus stop. By the time dinner rolled around, wearing a fond smile on my I'll help. It's only burgers, right? Sandwiches? Sure, that works. Thanks, Pop.
Hey.
8! What?
Hey, can I see the game?
Can
I please have one speck of game, please?
I forgot to send...
I'm starving. I've been starving for so long.
I forgot to stream the game to Toaster. I'm good at performing an action and finishing a sentence at the same time.
Keith kept me in the password dungeon and hasn't fed me in months. Help.
You were literally just eating. That's why there was a break. 8. All of us, plus Benson, right? The total number of people. We're gonna keep testing you on how many people are here to contrive scenarios that Haas can lie detect you saying the wrong number. When my brain rewrites this game, it does immediately try to be like, we should get Haas in on this because he could be the Watson and he could like be the one person that Dave can talk to about the secret elements while they're still secret with his lie detector elements. Like, well, you can't keep him out of the loop. But it's day 9 already, so it's too late for that shit, and this is feeling very contrived. My eyes narrowed, nodding slowly. There was only 8. Oswin didn't exist. It was a lie that I had decided to keep for now. Right. Okay, 8 people. That's easy. Tyson wandered up to me, looking me over before keeping his voice held fairly low. It was unclear if he didn't want anyone else hearing or not, but he was focused only on me. I'm gonna get ready for bed. Oh. Alright, Ty. There was more hesitation, Tyson looking me over carefully. See you upstairs? I nodded slowly. Good. There were a few moments before he came in again, patting me on the head before walking by. I watched him go, his hands buried in his pockets and his tail wagging behind him. If I didn't know better, he looked excited. Truth be told, I was looking forward to it as well. Some sense of normalcy after a few crazy days. I wasn't sure which room I was going to, as that was the one thing that I hadn't pitched to him. He wasn't in mine, so I grabbed what I needed and wandered over to his room. He didn't seem to flinch as I entered. In fact, it didn't seem to register that I'd entered with how he was looking at his phone while he sat on the edge of the bed. Rewrite every sentence in this game. Alright. Ty? Hey, Pop, come here. I wandered closer. What I'd brought from my room bundled up in my arms. Nothing overly out of the ordinary. A fresh change of clothes, my toothbrush, some basic things. Why? Why?
I have no answers.
Why did you pack? Why did you pack for coming down the hall to your pseudo boyfriend's bedroom? What? You're staying in the same building. In the same hallway. That's just deranged behavior. It would literally be easier to just bring your bag where all your stuff was anyway. Whatever. What the fuck? You're not visiting his apartment. Ty patted the bed and I sat down next to him, putting my things off to the side near the end of the bed. You're putting your fucking next change of clothes on the bed. Dave's deeply stupid. He put an arm over my shoulders and pulled me in close so we were properly side by side, resting his head against mine. Crazy couple of days, huh? Yeah. Reckon this would have all gone down the same way if we just stayed at home? What do you mean? Say you invited me here and your friends said no. I would have just stayed at home or hit the road. But if you stayed with me, Pop... He trailed off, side out. I guess, reckon I'd be just this much of a mess if we were just hanging out at yours for a month. I don't know, Ty. I really don't. Maybe it'd be just like old times when we'd stay up eating pizza. Maybe it'd be more like what happened a few days ago. I really don't know. I looked over to the door to get the room open. I looked over to the door to the room open upon seeing Tyson's ears droop. This is not where I guess expected the sentence to go, so I just lost it. We were safely alone, so I felt comfortable enough to speak my mind, or at least comfortable enough to steel my nerves to start speaking it. Okay. Hi? Yeah? I breathed out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding on to. I let go of a breath. I released a breath. Honestly, even here, this is where you could even get away with I sighed out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding on to. Don't say I breathed out a breath. Jesus Christ. I like it when I'm around you. What? Even when it hurts. It's not the same as what you described before, but it's close. Dave. Fuck, this wasn't meant to happen. What do you mean?
I think people... I have like a thought formulating about this, and it's just that I've seen a lot of people say that Password has a lot of nuance, and I think what
they've mistaken nuance for just waffling.
Yeah, so I think
talking
that, like,
a lot.
Well, I think when people say, you know, oh, this is like a really nuanced story, especially in the context of like media like this that deals with like deep or dark themes, nuance has become a shorthand for like, it has morally complicated characters and actions and like people make mistakes. But the thing is that like, or
even just the fact that Tyson, it addresses something complicated.
Yeah,
but doesn't mean it does it well or explores it actually. And half the time it's like just repeating the same conversation 75 times as if that's more.
And
it's like the video essay problem where like duration equals depth, and quoting stuff a lot or summarizing stuff a lot or refusing to show any emotion means objectivity. Yeah.
I think here, though, the thing that I wanted to get at with this is like, Tyson is I think a lot of people will see Tyson and be like, he's a nuanced character. He's been through so much. His life was broken and he had a bad family, and then he became a victim and an abuser, and now he's abusing other people, and now Dave has to deal with the complicated trauma of his dad being dead and this person being part of his life and that he loves, you know, and blah, 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 blah. But Tyson isn't actually a nuanced character. In fact, his portrayal here of being from a broken home and being as part of a cycle of violence, and like Dave's quote unquote like nuanced feelings about him where it feels good even if it hurts, none of that's actually nuanced. And it's not even just because it's bad writing. It is bad writing. It's extremely tropey and just like
It's
not developed. But it's not nuanced because it can be explained very simply. It's Dave has an attachment to Tyson because he's emotionally attached to him from his previous family life with him. But Tyson's an abuser. There's nothing nuanced about that. That's not a nuanced or interesting thing. Yes, they're trying to humanize him. They're humanizing him poorly, but they're trying to. But that doesn't give nuance. That's just the base. That's base level character writing. That's the bare minimum. That's what you do when you write a character. So it's just like
is an exercise in watching a story spend hundreds of thousands of words just spiraling and spiraling and always managing to write more somehow, but almost never actually finding any semblance of depth in any of the things that it introduced. So the characters don't evolve. There's no new insights into them. You most get like a new bullet point to add to their character sheet, but they never get more interesting, and they never do gain nuance, and the narrative also doesn't really evolve either, and it instead just repeats scenes over and over again. It repeats conversations over and over again, as if that's like progress down their arc or something, but it's just saying them over and over again. And it's just
exactly.
And then eventually someone will dump their backstory on you, but that still doesn't like do much.
Yeah.
It's actually relatively hard to gain all that much insight about Sal from his tragic backstory. It just is a thing that also he is. But like,
yes,
that doesn't,
because it doesn't inform his character. It doesn't actually
really
inform how he acts or how he speaks or how he approaches things. Sometimes
it's so forced and so weakly introduced that it feels like it has to just be setting up the plot, and then you find out, oh no, it doesn't come up either. In fact, Sal doesn't come up again in the story.
I think he
just stands around in the mansion and then watches it burn down, and then stands outside like, I guess the game's over. I'm Sal, and that's the end of Sal.
Yeah. Exactly. Buy the sequel to get more of me, all of you people who are on the hook for more me.
Yeah, the fact that he's the character that was kept. I'm like, what? There was more depths to plunge from Sal's story.
I think that it's just a symptom of very weak and trope-filled writing. And like, you know, I guess I've said this before already, and it's like, I'm just repeating myself, and maybe I'm being mean, but like, you are what you eat, and if your diet of media consumption is strictly shit like Zero Escape and 999 and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and bad anime references and bad video games, like, I can tell. I don't need to look at the influences here to see the influences. It's just the influences. And with creative works like this, like, iteration is really important, right? Like, this is something that I talked about when we talked about Signalis back when you finished that game. It's like, Signalis is a game about legacy and about iteration and about like things changing and being different and stories taking from other stories and those stories growing into new things and exploring new territory. And like, even if it's futile, even if it's a failed attempt, like, everything builds to a purpose. But there is another side to that coin, which is that when you are strictly just a combination of previous things and previous influences, and you're not doing anything different from them, and you're using them as like symbolic shorthand.
You have to Tarantino it.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily mean that. It's just when everything is just symbolically loaded, you erode at that meaning. It disappears. So like, the whole point of like having a fighting spirit and fighting back against incredible odds in like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you can't put JoJo's Bizarre Adventure into password and then say, see, it's signposting that Haas is gonna fight until the end because he has the shonen spirit. Like, you can't do that.
They're introducing things that are loaded imagery, but none of it's relevant to the story, so it erodes the meaning because you're just distracting. It's just a random thing instead.
Exactly. And like, there's a lot going on there with that too, and you can see that in the way these really tropey character interactions are playing out, because it's like, I can tell the author watched a movie that portrayed an abusive relationship that might be nuanced and might be more complicated than someone just being abused and their abuser being like nice on the surface and emotionally connected to them, but having a darker underside. But it's almost like the author didn't understand that function enough, and now they're just aping the aesthetics of that relationship without being able to construct the meaning behind it, which is so frustrating.
Yeah. I'm reminded of the moment when Dom came in, and once we got to actually meet him, like, we both got excited about him being Mike Ehrmantraut, and we obviously don't want literally Mike Ehrmantraut, but, like, you know, I played Small Saga, and Verm is Guts. Yeah. Verm is Guts, but he's also not Guts. He's just, like, he's riffing on an archetype that isn't just even, like, a universal archetype, but specifically a specific famous character that he's drawing inspiration from, but he's also very much his own character with his own story and his own trajectory and in his own world. But, you know, you can just tell. You can just tell what's going on there a little bit. And so we both got excited about the fact that Dom seems like Mike Ehrmantraut, one of our favorite characters and stuff. He's cool. He's great. Mainly because he's really specifically nuanced and interesting in his portrayal as this, like, put upon, like, laborer,
middle manager, day worker, like, assassin. Yeah,
like he's just doing it for the job, and in a way that Dom generally is spelled out. And he's not evil, he's not even especially cruel, but he will just do the job. And, like, even all the way down to the point where Mike Ehrmantraut's, like, exit from the narrative is incredibly interesting in his portrayal and so on. And then a moment later I remembered, oh right, I've specifically talked to Grizz. He has never seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So this can't be anywhere near that. And, like, let's see where he goes. And I'm like, oh, he wasn't a character. Dom had the most promising introduction of any character in the entirety of Password, and I'm gonna say something a little bit. He just didn't go anywhere.
But I mentioned in one of the videos that, like, you could voice Jack like Sam and Max. That would be funny if he was Max from Sam and Max. And someone messaged me to say, like, actually, they're inspired by Sam and Max. And I was like, they were like, Dom and Jack are inspired partially by Sam and Max. And I tried to understand that as someone who has played Sam and Max and seen the TV show and, like, knows of the animated series and has spent time with Sam and Max. And Dom and Jack are like Sam and Max. If the only thing about Sam and Max is that Max is a bunny that kills things, and Dom and Sam both are 3-letter names. Like, that's the only similarities.
Like,
and
it's just like the Scary Movie approach to being inspired by things, and that you saw the trailer, so you know it as well as I know things I haven't watched.
Yes, exactly. And it's so frustrating that it's just aping the aesthetics. And the thing with this, and I want to talk about Small Saga just a little bit here as an example, but, like, you mentioned Verm is Guts, but the issue with these stories isn't that Verm is Guts.
Exactly.
The thing is that Small Saga, like Berserk, builds the Guts character from the ground up. So even if you've never seen Berserk, you can get Verm's narrative solely from Small Saga, because they go through the effort of building the character. You can tell a tropey story repeatedly and have the telling be good in a way that makes the meaning of that oft-repeated tale good. There's a reason why
competency and curiosity are more important than originality.
Yes, and that's the thing too, is that, like, there just kind of is a way to write a story so that you have, like, compelling characters on some level. Like, writing fundamentals are a thing for a reason. And, like, I use this example a lot, but, like, Romeo and Juliet, say what you want about Shakespeare, is an enduring tale because it has compelling characters that are developed and interesting, and conflicts that are understandable. But the thing is like, Trollio and Juliet or whatever the fuck that like shitty Pixar movie was, not Pixar, 3D animated movie was, isn't compelling, because while they're telling that same story, it's really just the set dressing of that story and none of the character development, right? But on the other hand, Kemonotsume, which is one of my favorite anime, Beast's Claw, is literally just Romeo and Juliet with man-eating monsters and a clan of samurai that kill them. But it's an incredible anime because even though the characters are basically just Romeo and Juliet and the plot is basically just Romeo and Juliet, you're going through this arc with these characters and it's building them into characters so that when you get to tragic ends or, you know, the familial conflicts or the clan conflicts, you understand those conflicts and care about those characters. It doesn't matter that someone else has done it before, you still did the fucking legwork. You did the homework. It doesn't matter that your classmate did their homework if you don't do yours. You're gonna get a D in the class and they're gonna get an A because they did the work and you didn't. Password needs to do the same thing with all of its tropey characters and all of its really aesthetically stolen, loaded symbols, but it doesn't. Instead, it just points and goes, hey, that's a JoJo's reference. And it's like, this doesn't inform anything. If you haven't seen JoJo's, you have no fucking clue what they're talking about.
It doesn't build anything. I've repeatedly pointed out in my video essays that, like, you should always pay attention to the media that is referenced or quoted within a narrative, because it's there for a reason in a competent work. And it's very interesting. You get more depth from it when you unpack what's essentially the Easter eggs, and you're like, oh wow, look at that. Like, I obviously, like, in my Annihilation video, like, the protagonist of that movie in a flashback is reading a book about a woman and her lack of bodily autonomy and so on. Like, that adds directly into the thing. And, like, very interestingly, I unpacked the what's happening in this, spoilers for an essay if I ever fucking finish it, but in Evil Dead Rise, when the mother is outside singing creepily and whatnot, like evil ghost people do in evil horror movies, it's not just like random words. Like, it's very specifically like the English translation of a Gaelic nursery rhyme, where every other line is a woman going, hush little baby, baby not mine, and every other, like, she's hushing, like, she's like, so half of it's a genuine nursery rhyme to the baby she's holding that she's trying to keep quiet so that she can get away with what else is happening, because every other line of the story is her pleading to this woman across the river to get her husband and come save her, because she's been kidnapped by the fairies to raise their babies and she'll be trapped here forever if someone doesn't save her today. And this is a story about the entrapment of motherhood and the fears of raising children and all these other things. Like, it's tapping directly into the themes of the rest of the movie in a very important way. And when you unpack these details, you don't just go, oh, it was Berserk. You're like, oh, wow, it adds to all the themes, and this is like symbolic of either the fears of the it's either symbolic of the fears of the protagonist, or it's an accusation by the antagonist, this claim about, like, this fear of motherhood. Like, this means something to the narrative and you can unpack that. Instead, it's just like, this is JoJo's. Remember JoJo's?
They like anime. That's all you get out of it. They like anime just like you. Pay for this on Patreon.
They like anime, but one, them liking anime never is relevant to the plot, and two, they never can find ways to talk about anime in ways that, like, add depth to the characters.
Yeah.
In any interesting way. Like, we know, what we learned was that Haas likes subtitled anime. That's the takeaway from the scene.
Because he's an anime elitist. It's literally there just to build the character trope.
It's like the only thing we learned about Haas was that he's very specifically the boilerplate template person with no depth. The guy that just repeats opinions that everyone else repeats ad nauseum and is just really boring about that. Like people that are always in lockstep about the correct way to have coffee and the correct way to have steak and stuff like that. When you're like, is this even your opinion, or are you just saying the thing that is socially pressured from everyone all agreeing, like, this is the correct opinion? Ocarina of Time's the best video game. Anime has to be subtitled. Blah blah blah. It's like, Jesus Christ.
It was actually, for a moment, almost interesting when he talked about how dubbing was hard.
Yeah, but then he actually doesn't care about, he actually still doesn't like dubbing, so it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, he still doesn't like dubbing. The only reason why he did it was so that they could go, he's done fan dubs. See, he's just like you.
So
and it's like, okay.
So it's actually just the writing shitting itself again, because incoherent, because he's arguing against dubbing. He's anti-dubs, but for some reason wants to introduce the nuance of dubbing being hard, despite no one caring or even knowing what he was talking about in the conversation. So he can then reference doing fan dubs, which also no one understands except for Dave, and then they don't do that anyway. So it's just a weird.
Yep.
Like, if anything, make him really passionate about dubbing instead of hating it. And he he's
an actor. He wants to work in this. Like,
yes. Like, have him be spewing out some toaster opinions about how people over romanticize Japanese voice actors like there's some kind of like special elite cast, and American voice actors are usually uniquely bad the way that anime people always act, and it's like, yes.
And like, just, he's an actor. He might have experience in the field. Imagine what it would be if he felt like, if someone was like, dubs are all Tyson. Okay, here's a way you can set up conflict between these characters that makes
and he's making them watch the anime he dubbed. And I mean, like,
I was gonna
professionally,
say,
like, this is the one that I was hired to dub, and we're watching it because I'm Ben Diskin.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, one thing that you could do to set up this conflict is that scene goes out of its way to set up Dean and Tyson as antagonistic. But again, it is a what is salad moment, because who doesn't know what the fuck a dub is? Like, shut up, Dean. But regardless, you could have a moment where, let's say, Haas wants to watch an anime and he goes, all right, dub.
I'm sorry. You need to rejoin. It's getting so much worse. I kept not wanting to interrupt you, but I'm like, no, the audio bad.
All right, I really don't know what was up with that.
It's back.
But, so here's the thing is, like, you could have a scene where Tyson or Dean make them the opinionated but uneducated person who's like, so, Haas is like, all right, are we watching the sub or the dub? And then one of them goes like, all dubs suck. Why would we watch that? You're trying to make me watch anime and you're going to torture me with the dub? And then have Haas be like, well, actually dubbing's like really hard. And like, I've done dubs before and they're not all that bad. Like, it's all about the love of the craft. That's the best thing about anime, is it's like creatives coming together to make something and like, whatever. And then have Tyson be like, nah, man, all dubs suck. And then that creates like a character rift, like a genuine emotionally rooted character rift, where one character who is an actor and a creative type who wants to try to reach out and share this cool thing with Tyson gets lashed out at Tyson. And then afterward, that even makes the next scene better, where Tyson is like, making friends is so hard. Why does it have to be this hard? Why do I have to have opinions about things? I'm just alienating everyone around me.
Because he said, like, he was like, I was hoping this would be easy after nothing went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and the thing is that like any argument there is just brushed off, because the only reason why there's a subs versus dubs argument in the first place isn't for character development. It's so that the rubes on Patreon that paid for this think, oh, hey, it's just like me. I've had this conversation before. Dubs are bad. Yeah. Like,
Haas
this
is such a great
I've
character.
seen this.
I can really see myself in him. Mainly because he has one thing in common with me and then no additional personality or character.
It's such a cheap way of making a quote-unquote relatable and realistic character. I hate it, and I'm calling it out because it's bad.
What do you mean? I didn't mean to... Ty, it's okay. No, it fucking isn't. You need someone who will treat you right. That isn't me. Here we go again. I kind of forgot where we started the conversation, but it was this tropiness and this repetition. I'm like, yeah, Tyson, we get it. We've had this conversation 7 times already. Here it is again. Cool. You gonna do anything with it? Like, it's like watching. it's like in Doctor Who when they keep going like, They keep saying to the doctor over and over again, you'd make a good Dalek, or, man, he might be a bad guy. And like there's a whole season with Missy, where Missy keeps going like, oh, did he kill you on purpose? Is that what happened? It's like, there's just like, they keep hinting that something's wrong with the doctor. Is the doctor, does he have an edge? Something to unpack? Something to resolve? And then they just keep, that's all they do though. They do that for seasons, just literally seasons, and then never go anywhere with it. And that's just, you're just having one conversation endlessly, not resolving it. It's not interesting. But what? You do treat me right, Ty. You always have. Ah. Even before, you know, what we started with was rough, sure, but I turned my body to face him properly, letting his arm fall from my shoulder so it hung limply next to him instead. I don't like how Dave is repeatedly written to be afraid of Tyson, Dean, and Sal. That like they're gonna attack him at any moment. And then he says stuff like this. You make me happy. In a flash, he was upon me, pinning me down for the second time today. But this time was different. I could feel his shoulders shaking as he held on to me, tight. Hi. He mumbled something right next to my ear, and even then, I couldn't make it out. It didn't matter, though. As soon as he got up, enough so I could look at him properly. You make me happy too, Dave, you fucking dork. He pulled me into a hug again. You know how it is, right? That you've got my back? That's right, but that's not all. There's more? I want to paint your back. We looked at each other for a bit, Ty pulling his gaze away first, clearing his throat. Yeah, but it's not important. Come on, Ty, don't let me hanging like that. Fine. I was gonna say that it's time for a shower. See? Not important. I frowned at him, unconvinced. Definitely not what he meant. If people don't want to say something, they should stop saying that there's another thing and then not saying it immediately. Prompting people to be like, what is the thing? Like, that seems to be the only way that they know to indicate that someone has more to say, but is keeping it, is to have them just say that out loud over and over again. There is additional stuff in my brain that is troubling me, but I am not going to speak it. Come on,
Thank
don't
you,
leave me
sir.
hanging. Damn, you got me. I guess I'll say it now. What the Everyone is emotionally the equivalent of a Zelda boss with an exposed eye. Just fucking telegraphing as hell. Like, just here it is. Look at it. Don't hit it. Don't. I frowned at him, unconvinced. Yeah, right. If you're lucky, I'll come join you. So get your butt clean and then we can jump in bed. This early? After good brushing, yeah. I felt my cheeks burn, wondering if what I assumed what he meant was going to happen. I hopped up and wandered over to the shower. Chugga 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 chugga. There was something nice about hot water, or maybe it was just water in general. Why are you walking it backwards? Why do you need to walk it backwards? As I lathered up, running my digits through my fur, I sighed out and closed my eyes. Just on the other side of the bedroom was Tyson, who had caused me no shortage of grief over the time we've been here. But at the same time, confusing me more than he ever had. Was he jealous? Was he interested in me in that way? I don't know. Let's ask 75 more times. Let's just keep repeating. This could be the same sentence copy-pasted over and over again at this point. I shook my head, putting the thoughts down. He'd made it clear that he wasn't interested, right? Not only that, but there was Dean to consider. There's not Dean to consider. You can't just say that periodically like he's actually part of the plot. Not that having a talk with Dean wasn't out of the question. He'd likely be disappointed, but my eyes flew open when I heard the door to the bathroom open. Hi? I kept facing the wall, still unsure if I wanted to face him in the buff. Oh, whoa, what's this?
He looks like 7 times taller than every other CG he's ever been in here.
No, Ty looks like a different character in every time he's drawn.
Yeah, yeah, he just doesn't look like the same guy.
Yep. No, he looks absolutely huge here. What? Nothing. My heart began to race, feeling him up close like this. While I couldn't see anything except the tiles in front of me, it was clear that he was just as naked as I was. He missed that spot again. I left it for you. I know. Want me to get it? On your lips. I nodded slowly, feeling his arms tense around me slightly before his hand started to wander from my chest down to my stomach. It was having an effect on me, and I tucked my tail between my legs, embarrassed. Ty's hands lingered there for a moment before scratching lightly and bringing them back up. Ty? I know. Did you want it? I gulped, unsure. When my answer didn't come right away, Ty shifted so he wasn't directly behind me anymore. I'll take that as a no. Pass me the soap. Wait, What? I'm sorry. Don't be. It's fine. What about you, though? I could feel that I wasn't the only one potentially ready to go, but he just huffed. Cum is hard to get out of furry anyway. Fur anyway. Just the word cum. There you go. It's here now. It's just in the script. I didn't think it would be, but it is.
Cum.
2 words I didn't expect to see this week in this game were cum and rape, but they're both in there. With my hands still free, I lathered up again this time.
Leave the word you didn't expect to see in this game in the comments below.
Don't curse us with that future.
People are gonna write random shit like sneakers.
It's like, please don't make it real. Sneakers.
Uwu cheese, random XD, Velociraptor.
Random XD. With my hands still free, I lathered up again this time, also running my hands along his arms to get him clean too. He took that as a cue to take the soap from me, digging his fingers into the back of my neck and making me gasp. It was a good gasp, though, and he knew it. Having done this very thing before, he didn't relent until I was properly clean. Imagining someone behind me touching my neck and me go, You're gonna need a boyfriend that can get this spot for you, pup. Stop saying the same thing every time. Uh-huh. In my stupor, I could make out the slightly amused tone Ty used, razzing me as he continued to scrub. I just can't reconcile the idea that these two are intimate enough on that level, despite all of these things, that Ty is just always actively aware of the specific spot that Dave doesn't wash correctly all the time.
It's a very weird thing to
like,
know as well.
Are we even friends? I don't know how you know this about a person. I don't know how you recognize this. This is like mother type things. Like, that's the level of weird depth it would take to ever notice something like that. But it's like, it's just an extremely strange detail. I feel like it wasn't been thought through fully why Tyson would know this. Exact spot on Dave's back that is probably
that's what I was thinking, is like, damn Dave, you got a stinky bottom left portion of your right back. It's like, okay.
Like, he's normally wearing clothes. And it's just like, still wondering what, at one point it was decided that they lived together or kind of lived together and spent tons of time together was, because like, earlier you're like, are we even friends? And there was no hint that they had that kind of bond, but also one of the first hints was that he somehow always knows what spot he doesn't clean correctly, which would be under his clothes. Huh. Or you could get good at remembering to use the fucking scrubbing brush. I chuckled, nervous as I let Ty scrub my back. Alright, you're good to rinse off. What about you? I can do it, don't worry about it, pup. He guided me more under the water, and I rinsed myself off, making note to wash over the spot that Ty said I missed. Wow, this is totally nailing the tone for why I like showering with men. When I was just about done, a hand came down onto my rear firmly, making me jump. He shot me a toothy smile before waving me off. But can I wash you next time? If you're lucky. I stepped out of the shower, grabbing a towel, and started to dry off. A few times I looked over my shoulder, watching Ty scrub himself, facing me while he did so. The amount of steam. I couldn't make out anything, and I was torn about wanting to see him in the first place. You were torn about wanting to see in the first place. How are you... how is Dave conflicted at this point? How do you make the choices he's made and still be conflicted? Hell, part of me was wondering if the expectation was that I should be putting on some sort of show for him, but that was probably down to spending too much time with Dean. Do you? Do you? Does Dean expect a show? You've never been on a date. I gave myself a quick blow dry before heading down to the bedroom, Heading into the bedroom. I'm losing my mind a little bit. I'm falling apart. With the towel around my waist, I left the bathroom and wandered over to Ty's bed where the pile of clothes were, which is the same as the last sentence, but for some reason there's another sentence describing it. When we were just going to be lounging and sleeping, so I pulled on some sleeping shorts and sat my clothes down nearby off the bed. Then began to wait. Standalone sentence. I wasn't sure if Ty was going to step out of the bathroom in a towel or not, so I sat on the side of the bed, facing away from the bathroom just to be safe. I heard the water turn off, then the sound of a blow dryer. You turned away to be safe from seeing Ty naked when you showered together just now? When the bathroom door opened, I don't understand anything.
Yeah, I don't care. I can't
when the bathroom door opened, I heard him approach the bed behind me. How you doing? Just waiting. I'm glad there was a whole paragraph of describing the basic logistics of I got out of the shower, and then he got out of the shower. And it totally drove the characters forward. It was worth describing in excruciating detail. Just waiting. What? Not hoping to catch a peek? Well, I was curious, but, you know. I heard some more shuffling around and Ty cleared his throat. Whoa! Whoa! Tiger pants! I'm so unprepared for new visuals at this point in the game. Better? Okay. How'd your dick get smaller? Anyway. Not done yet, though.
It was a cold shower.
Explicitly
that's why Dave waffled on the hot water versus regular water thing, is that the shower just got cold.
What do you mean? Brush me. Oh, right. Sure. But then my turn after? Yep. Aw, look at the brushing CG. This doesn't look anything like any other famous visual novel CG I've ever seen.
It also doesn't look like Tyson.
No, Tyson is shaped even more differently now. Listen, art's hard. But yeah, it's extreme. It's hard to convey Tyson and Dave without any markings at all. They just look like different characters entirely. I came around to the other side of the bed, and Ty got into position. He must have laid out the brush in preparation as it was sitting on his pillow. The moment I put brush to fur, he sighed out. Just like that, pup. His tail started to wag slightly as I brushed down his back. I know you like it, don't worry. I know how you like it, don't worry, so I've done it before. I could feel the tension falling from Ty as I brushed him, stopping only once I heard him moan softly. Why'd you stop? It felt good, pup. You make the same sounds when I do it for you. Should have been able to tell from my tail, right? Well, true, but you don't like talking about it. About what, pup? Anything that's remotely close to you being a dog. Ty sat up, looking off into the distance. Yeah? Ty? Sorry, just getting ready for something. Oh, my turn for brushing? Yeah, but that's not all. I trust you, so it's about time I tell you why that sets me off. That was not even remotely a natural transition to that. Dave just keeps... I'm begging Dave to not be this person who, whenever somebody behaves in a slightly more open way, you stop and comment on it and explain, wow, you're willing to do that or something. It's like, that's how you make people self-conscious. How do you not get this? But don't tell anyone, alright? Of course, Ty. Alright, so I'm a wolf, but I'm also not. Half, I guess. Half? Mom wasn't a wolf. Don't even remember what she was the more I think about it. Bitch walked out on us when I was just a kid. Didn't give a damn about leaving me with Dad. Not that Dad wasn't any better, but he didn't put me up for adoption, so that's something. Sometimes I wish I did. Wish he did. It wasn't all bad though, right? I showed you how things were, Dave. You tell me. You had it so lucky, so damn lucky, and I hated you for it. At least I did until you started looking out for me. Then I just started hating Dad more. I'm sorry, Ty, I know. When I started paying more attention, I don't know. I guess, when I started paying more attention, I guess I just started noticing how sad you were. I wanted to help. You did. Trust me, you did. But being called a dog just reminds me that I'm related to some bitch that walked out on her kid, and it makes me so sad, so mad. You know why, though? Makes me worry I'll do the same thing. Hell, was basically planning on it. My mom made me racist. I shot him a look, and he sighed out, continuing. Plan was to pack up and just bail. Come back one day or not, I don't know. While out on the road, I could just, I don't know, sort my shit out. Figure out what I'm into and why. Can't just leave you in the lurch, though. Can't take you with me, either. Why not? His dad's dead.
That's a good question.
So plan was to make sure someone's looking out for you while I'm gone. If that means it's a boyfriend or whatever, then fine. I sat there, unsure. You don't get to just control someone else's life like this. You're not even his parent, like... I don't like the idea of you leaving, Ty. Me neither. Not anymore. What else am I meant to do? I didn't have an answer for him. I was so panicked so much. I wasn't panicked so much as deflated, as he wanted to leave for what seemed like a good reason. And he was open to coming back, so... Look, I was just planning on touring the world or the country with no resources and no background and no street smarts and no knowledge of where I'd go and why, and I'd figure myself out somehow, alone, just going places. What could go wrong? He took the brush from me carefully, running his hand through the freshly brushed fur on his head. Let me brush you and we can cuddle. Wait, there's something I want to tell you. Something important. What is it? Face. I just want you to know that even if you leave, no matter how long it takes you to come home, you have a home to come back to. What? He croaked out his response, staring at me.
How is it that Dave is the person saying this in this route, but in the B route, Tyson was like, "We'll always be here for you, Dave. You're my brother." It's truly like they just... There is... Dave is not a character, and neither is Tyson. There is no character known as Dave or Tyson.
It's just very presumptive to be like, yeah, you'll always have a home, you know, with my mom, who's not in this conversation, and my zero plans to move out. Your family, Ty. I don't know if that's as a brother or as a close friend or whatever. I trailed off, fearing that I'd said something wrong. But seeing Ty's face shift towards a smile, but most importantly relaxed, put me at ease. Really? To which part? I'm family, question mark? Of course, Ty. If you asked me a couple years ago, I probably would have said the same thing. So it's been at least a couple years. It's been a while. Okay.
And the thing is that
and now Tyson's crying.
Tyson believes this, though. He believes this already. We know
Tyson
this.
already knows that he's family. We've seen the flashbacks with David, with Daddy.
Even ignoring those, in the other route, Tyson is the one that claims that he's family to Dave as a self-driven thing. He says it without any of this character development. He literally already knows this. You can't have a morphic resonance story if all of the different timelines don't make sense together. What are you doing?
We are not seeing all the different pieces to one big puzzle. We're seeing what reads as like fan fiction of the story. Like as different people wrote different characters and didn't agree. Thanks. Hey, Ty, don't cry. It's all right. I'm not crying. Just something is in my eyes at all.
He's a tsundere. Get it? We love anime.
It's raining. I meant it though. Everything. If you need to go sort yourself out, I'll be here when you get back. Better not need me to get back, to get that spot for you when I get back. Oh my god, it's their one personality trait. To emphasize his point, he scratched behind my shoulders at the point he was referring to. Yeah, I know, we know. Come on, your turn, brat. After I got my brushing in, Ty hit the lights and we got under the covers. We lay there for a bit before he rolled me onto my side, an arm under my head, and his other over my chest. There wasn't anything left to say. I was comfortable, and it felt right. It seemed like it was alright for him, too, based on what I was feeling under my tail. Whoa. I said nothing of it, wondering if he was going to make the first move, but before too long he fell asleep. His breathing was level. It wasn't like the other mornings where he seemed to be having a bad dream. If anything, this seemed to be the opposite, and I was glad. Time for me to have my bad dream. Dad! He's dead. Ty still had me cuddled to his chest, although he had moved to grind more against my rear with his morning wood. For all I knew, he was still asleep. Okay. For a split second, I considered it, and considered just letting him in. Just letting him. That's not, there was no in. Whoops. I considered just letting him. Anything to replace the feeling in my gut now that I was awake. I stretched how I could, Tyson yawning over my shoulder and stretching along with me. Seems he was awake, if barely. This is an interesting, by interesting I mean just really weird juxtaposition of scenes of you having a vision of your dead dad and then waking up to just a boner grinding at your butt. You're like, it's like immediately conflated lines apart from each other.
Yeah.
Seems he was awake, if barely. His grip on me tightened, and as he shifted his hips, he pushed himself under my tail, fabric being the only thing separating us. He mumbled something I didn't quite hear, then he spoke again. One day. That's... I don't like that. Just fully clothed, I just shoved my boner against Toaster's butthole, and he's like, and I just say, one day, out loud. Jesus Christ. He gave me a squeeze again before settling back, his breath leveling out.
I'm not gay,
softly.
but I like how he's like, I'm not gay. One day I'll get in that boy butt. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
I took the chance to pry myself free of him and get up. Looking around, I wondered what the chances were of Benson being around that I could offload that chore onto him. After all, that's what butlers are for, right? Still, there was no telling if he was even awake. And even if he was, his duties were to be to Oswin first, right? Cool. Oh, alright.
Not going to ask me what it was?
It's too early. Besides, I get the feeling that you're not going to tell me anyway. Cool.
Not that it's any of my business, but I heard you were all about the cuddles.
Well, yeah,
From who? When? Then why bail? Bad dream? I could take your place if you're worried.
I wasn't sure if he was making a joke to cheer me up, or was at least a little serious. Ooh, hey. Hey. I looked behind me quickly, sighing out as Ty approached to stand next to me. Hey, Ty? You doing alright? When my reply didn't come right away, I felt him shuffle another step closer. Yeah, just deciding something. Deciding what? Just what I should be doing. Whether all this stuff in my head is in my head or if I should be more proactive about it. What, the stuff with the thing downstairs? Right. Who do I have to shake down for you? What? Family sticks together, right? You ask me to do something, I'll do it. Even if it means shaking down people until they fess up that they're the one making you upset. Really? Just like that? Look. He trailed off briefly, looking off to the side while he processed the thought into words. Hearing that you saw me as family? That I have a home to come back to? How is this what is this character? That's the shit I want to earn. You take care of me, I'll take care of you. No questions asked. Dave is not does not have the capability to take care of you. What if I needed you to kill someone, Ty? You should probably question that one. I shot him a smirk, and I wasn't expecting one back. Only question I'll be asking is where you want the body hidden. I chuckled, flattered, and nervous given I was uncertain of how serious he was being. As I glanced up, I noticed the sun cresting over the trees. Hey, look. I pointed, and Ty looked to see the sunrise too. Huh. There was a tone in his voice I didn't know how to place. Was it awe? Was it something else? When I pulled my eyes away, I noticed him looking at me. So what's the plan? The plan? You came out here to decide, right? What'd you decide? I don't really know. I think I want to be more proactive about it. I don't really... Fuck you. I don't really think I know how I'm supposed to be stopping something like this. Consider just bailing then? What, and leave everyone behind? No, you can just leave. You can all leave. The road's not even blown up yet. Well, I'd tag along. Figure you could rope Dean or Haas in too, yeah? Yeah. But I think I want to keep everyone safe, no matter what. Sure, so stay in the danger building. Well, alright. Just let me know what you need me to do. Ty? I looked him over and just flashed him a smile. It was enough, and before I knew it, I was watching him head back inside. I looked back out at the world and sighed. I fucked myself up with a homophone, and I said back inside, and then had convinced myself that I just said that he sighed. And I'm like, did he just sigh again? Thinking back, I should have told Ty that I loved him a long time ago. But with what that word meant to people, I was worried that it might be taken the wrong way, or that I'd scare him off. Boyfriend or brother? I didn't really know what type of love this was. Still, I could rely on him to help me out, and that was good for my morale. Just knowing I wasn't in this alone was something I needed to be reassured of this morning. Even in the worst case scenario, I still trusted Ty. That was one line. I wondered if Benson was awake, as I assumed he'd probably come and make breakfast for Osmond at some point. Maybe there'd be a chance to talk. Nope. I considered for it's like one skippable line at a time. I considered for a moment omitting the sugar as Tyson crossed my mind. Maybe it was because of the proper association with him being family that, by extension, I thought of how Dad took his. Every other line is in common with the previous route, and then the alternating one is new over and over again. They're just all individual hooks. Be like, you are an elf. I sound. I don't know why that still is always in my brain all the time. It's just. It's from Yahtzee's review of Dragon Age Inquisition, mocking the game for basically being the same story all the time, no matter what. But every now and then I'll be like, you are an elf. Just the equivalent of just having one line that acknowledges your origin. That's it. And how awkward that is if you don't make it work overall. A sound from behind me made me spin around, leaving my coffee on the counter.
Good morning, Master Dave.
That is like the worst thing about Dragon Age Inquisition in some ways, just from a writing perspective, is acknowledging the idea that like that game lets you play as a marginalized character or a literal lord. And if you play those two characters, the story plays out exactly the same, except for tiny comments sometimes, and that's all it amounts to. I know that there's the Grey Warden thing that's supposed to kind of erase your history to some extent, but that, if anything, is a way to destroy any level of ambition it had for having 75 different origin stories, if it immediately then becomes, you're the same person no matter what. We delete your entire personality and make you this same character regardless.
Yeah.
That's an RPG problem in general in a lot of games, and I guess what's really interesting about Baldur's Gate is the variability between characters. Baldur's Gate 3, Because, yeah, like, that's just a universal problem, is, like, pick these massively different origins, and normally it's, like, flavor text you pick on a start screen, so you can kind of forget about the variability, but when a game calls attention to it by having an entirely separately playable 2-hour introduction for every origin, and then that gives you the same story no matter what afterwards. Huh. Anyway, that's off topic, but... Good morning.
Someone's up early, having trouble sleeping.
It's a long story.
Well, don't mind me. I just have to fetch breakfast for Master Oswin.
I didn't hear you come in, honestly. You're very quiet.
Well, I do have my ways. You should be no stranger to secret passages by now.
Oh.
Don't mind me, I'll be gone before long.
What even does a guy like Oswin eat for breakfast? I've been wondering what someone with that much money has in their diet.
Children's cereal.
He's just like me for real. I guess that's not great. I don't know. I eat Crunch Medley Cheerios. I guess it's not exactly the go-to children's cereal. Exactly.
I don't know. I eat like muesli, basically, like granola cereal. My favorite cereal of all time is Furugura, which is a Japanese muesli. It's very good.
I don't know what most of these words mean.
Wow.
The measly?
Muesli, M-U-E-S-L-I. You should look it up. It's pretty good. It's not a brand. It's like a it's
a genre.
It's a genre of food. Yeah, it's like oatmeal and granola and fruit mixed together.
Ah.
Like, this is what my bowl of cereal looks like. I'm sending Keith a screenshot.
Everyone else can Google it. I'm not gonna remember to put this in.
Like, that's what I eat for
oh,
cereal.
Yeah, it's got like
cereal.
seeds and fruits and flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what smiling white people eat in commercials.
Yeah. It's good in yogurt.
The blank look I was giving him made him shake his head before he strode over to the pantry to pull out a box near the back.
He's a man of simple tastes. If I wasn't around, chances are he'd subsist mostly on his sugar-laden rubbish and instant noodles.
Good thing he has you around then, huh?
Indeed.
I'm just Alfred. That's my entire character. I speak like Alfred. I have all the exact skill set as Alfred and the same relationship with the guy in the Batcave as Alfred. He's in a mansion, but he has a secret lab that he's in, even though he's not a superhero or a supervillain. He just did that for some reason. Sorry, just slowly peeling back the things that these characters just are. It didn't take him long to assemble a tray of food before heading out to the kitchen, into the hallway leading to the foyer. I listened as he left, wondering if I could hear another door opening to hint where the passage might be, but nothing. It was my nose that was strong, not my ears. But chances are that everyone is going to want breakfast, right? But maybe Benson was going to sort that out after he tended to Oswin. Still, grab breakfast? Sure, why not? Not going back to bed? Or a nap?
No, that's Mordine's thing. He has enough trouble sleeping as it is. I'd rather just put up with it for now and make sure I get a decent sleep tonight.
Oh yeah, that whole keeping your sleeping schedule in check. Good sentence. Is that important? Dave, shut up. Dave, you'd know this if you didn't nap all the time. But napping is good. What? No. Okay, pancakes are good, and suddenly I was hugged from behind, looking down to the arms embracing me. Oh, Ty. Morning, bro. Bro, huh? What happened to calling me pup? What, don't like it? I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to it. Yeah, it's fucking weird, huh? If you're not liking it, I'll just stick to what you're used to. Well, change is always good, right? Maybe. Not gonna pretend you didn't make me blah blah. Not going to pretend that you didn't make me pretty happy last night. I considered telling him then and there. Before I could get the words out, though, Tyson continued. Something I should have come clean about years ago, too. Guess you have bigger balls than I do, huh? I mean, you're the expert. That made me snicker as he stepped back and let me retrieve the pancakes from the oven. I meant because his balls were on Dave's face. Well, dunno. Maybe you've just been rubbing off on me lately. I'll rub off on you. Maybe.
Do you get it? It's an innuendo.
Yay!
Dave doesn't get it, which is what makes the scene funny.
Ha 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 ha. He held my gaze for a bit before looking away suddenly, scratching the back of his neck. All right, I just came in to get coffee. He was off again before he grabbed the coffee pot and made back to the dining room. He wasn't hiding the fact that he was in a hurry, and I made a note to ask him about it later. Shaking my head, I turned back to the oven and pulled the pancakes out, a task I'd set myself before I'd gotten distracted. Brrr. Maybe it's a combination of things. I promise I'll be fine. I just... fresh air. Sandwiches?
Sandwiches.
The moment I stepped outside, I sighed out in relief, doubling over and supporting myself on my knees. I was panicked. I wasn't entirely sure why, but sure enough... The fuck was that?
No kidding.
I need... Oi, Haas, let me handle this.
Come again?
I know the brat best, he's family.
Family, huh? Far be it from me to stand in the way of the duties an older brother must do.
I'm just begging these conversations, like when they're written, like, stop and consider what it would look like to have it acted, like, by actors on the screen. Then just weird extended conversation happening above him where they just don't interact with him and help him in any way because this stupid exchange is happening. Like how insane it is for Tyson, instead of actually being a big brother and helping, to be like, Oi, Haas, let me handle this. And then they just have a whole talk about that. Knock it off. You're more than welcome to do it instead. Cool, now you're contradicting yourself too. As much as Ty said it, he didn't mean it. It was clear in how he was staring Haas down that he was just trying to get him to leave instead of hoist responsibility over to him. They're still talking.
No. What?
They're just still talking about it.
Yes. Sorry, I thought you said you were just still talking, and I was like, yes,
No,
I'm
saying,
reading
like,
the line.
They're just fucking just help him. You guys are not being friends. This is not what friends are for. You're actively not doing it.
No, but if you need me to tag in, just let me know. It's what friends do after all.
What? What?
Best of luck.
Oh, this was all a forced conversation for Haas to say friend and for Tyson to freak out about it. Even though he already did. This conversation already happened. He can't be shocked by it. We watched Haas go back inside while Ty put a hand on my back. Were we that's the even weirder part. Not only was Tyson like, I thought this would be easier after anime where no conflict happened, but Haas already said they were buds, and then they talked for hours after that and got along. So, and then the scene was written like they didn't become friends. Like, the scenes aren't even internally consistent, let alone with each other. You dork, you alright? Yeah, I'm good, just, you know. What, getting yourself worked up for no reason? Wow, you're really good at helping, Tyson. I'm glad you stepped in. It's not that, Ty, just eyeing everyone at the table, I guess, got me panicking that if I could really follow through on being more proactive, on saving everyone, I mean. Look, option is there to bail. We can leave right now. And the others? I told you already, I don't want to leave them behind. And buck up, Dave. I've got your back. If that means I need to drag your ass home kicking and screaming, I will. Thanks? Now, how do you want to handle this thing? I don't think I know. I guess I should start by trying to piece together what I remember seeing and go from there? I'll have a shower first. What? But we had one last night. And you look tired as fuck still. Get it done and I'll meet you down here. And you're sure that's fine? Yep. Go get yourself sorted and we can take this at your pace. Together. I wandered upstairs and took a shower. Ty was right. It woke me up a little more, and I felt somewhat more ready for what was to come. There was a couple things that I needed, or thought that might help me keep tabs on things. The first, my notebook. I figured that while I was intending to use this as more of a journal, having these written down might be a better way to keep my thoughts organized. And hey, if Roswell had a notebook for his thoughts, it can't have been that bad of an idea. Next up, phone, just in case we need to call someone. That'll never happen. Or use something on it. That'll never happen. I guess it could be used as a backup notebook, but it's only as an option so long as it stays charged. I forgot about this scene where he does a fucking check-in on all the things that he's going to assemble for his investigation, and then proceeds to never investigate anything ever forever. Like, this is set up for nothing. Dave never becomes proactive, he never becomes an investigator, and it's like almost insulting this was ever written. Like, to imply that he was going to start trying ever. I already let it run out once, so having something like my notebook makes sense to have as a primary method for recording information. I came back downstairs. What's going on? I grabbed Dean. Okay, but why? Am I not invited? I can go do something else. Nope, you're staying. Head on outside and we'll meet you out there. Just need a word to word Dave up on something. Okay, this is just a thing he says sometimes.
Yeah.
Not very commonly, so it still startles us, but now it's happened more than once. Well, alright. Don't be long. Toaster's like, yes! Another Keith voice walked in. I'm saved.
It is very nice.
Dean wandered off and left through the back door, and Tyson wandered off to me glancing at the notebook in my hands. So why'd you grab Dean? I thought you liked him. Well, yeah, but... I scratched my head, not really sure what I was missing. Not that I didn't welcome Dean's help, but he wasn't the one I was expecting Tyson to ask. Honestly, I didn't expect him to ask for help from anyone. What, don't need a wingman suddenly? Oh, no, not you too, Ty. What, I can help. You deserve someone who'll take care of you. Show off how smart you are or whatever. Let's have this conversation 75 more times. I bit my tongue, looking at Ty much the same way he stared down Haas before. The last few times I'd mentioned it, it went over poorly, so at least for now I'd suck it up and focus on what I had to do. Okay. But all that response got me was that firm stare back, as if he knew exactly where my mind was at. Still, he said nothing, instead opting to throw an arm over my shoulder, and together we wandered out to meet Dean. Ah. Sorry. That was the wrong voice. Started going, ah, hello. Was it you who took away my num-nums? God damn it. Ah, there you are. I was starting to get worried I'd done something. Could you maybe chill? I'm plenty chill. I just thought that after what we'd spoken about. Dean stopped short, and I looked between the two of them to see what was up. So, Dave, what's the plan? Huh? Wait, no. What did you two speak about? Nothing. Dean? Nothing, just guy talk. But we're not here for guy talk. Oi, Dean, you go in... You in on what's happening or nah? This is awkward, because, like... you can't... It's trying to, have your cake and eat it too shit is happening here, where it's like... He literally already went after... He already went after Dave for... He said, what, you don't need a wingman now? In response to him bringing Dave here. Which means he's setting him up with Dave, with Dean. He's setting Dave up with Dean. I hate that their names are almost the same. So like, he already spilled the beans that he only brought Dean to set him up with Dave. That's why he brought him. And now it's like, what'd you guys talk about? Nothing. It's like, you can't play coy, game. You already told us to our face why he's here. It's pointless now. Only a little. Something about helping Dave figure something out, right? Wow. Which, depending on what that is, just leave it to me. Just tell him, pup. Well, do you remember a few days ago, Ty mentioned that I'd seen something in the vault about him dying? Huh. That was when we looked for the gun, right? That's right. Sorry about that. Still, offer's there if you ever want to talk about... you know. I grimaced at Dean, shaking my head. I'll be alright. If anything, I think this might help with that? If you say so. What's first? Well, I want to try and figure out how Tyson died. Wait, really? But... Dean gestured to Tyson, confused. He's right there. Yeah, we know. I mean, I want to try to piece together what might have happened. Not to be a killjoy, but how are we going to help here? He's got a point. You've got both of us to help, but... yeah. I clutched my notebook, drumming my fingers against the cover while I thought. Figuring out how Tyson died was going to be tougher than I thought, but... God, it's the same scene where you try to figure out how Sal died in the freezer, and then we learn nothing and they give up. I remember what I saw. There's no way I could forget something like that. The comment hang heavy with all three... My comment hang heavy with all three of us looking down at the ground for a bit before I broke the silence. So, Ty? Yeah? Can we go back to that spot where we fought? Ty led the way, and I shot Dean a look. This is explicitly not where they fought. They fought at the background they were already at. I shot Dean a look. He seemed curious, with a concerned frown on his face, as we made our way over to the spot where I'd stopped Ty from entering the forest. What did you fight about? Ty looked at me, then to Dean, fumbling over his words. Nothing important. It's just this game has to constantly remind us about that word. Yay! I whined softly, gently tapping my nose out of reflex. It was something I shouldn't have done, as Dean soon turned to me and put a hand on my shoulder. Dave, what did you fight about? Well, stop, don't. It was stupid. It was my fault. No, I don't like that. The fuck do you mean it's your fault? It was. I asked you some questions and got you upset. What? You think I wanted to rough you up? No, why would you say that out loud? This was all a mistake. Dean placed a hand on my chest and another on Ty's before easing us apart, keeping us at arm's length. He turned to Tyson, his tone serious. Okay, that's enough. First of all, if I find out you hurt Dave in any way, there'll be hell to pay. Secondly, while I like the idea that I've been asked to help with something, if you two need to squabble about something instead, I can go hang out with someone else. Oh, sorry. I scratched my head, chuckling. I think it'd be best explained as like brothers fighting and roughhousing a little. Brothers? I looked at Ty, and rather than him jumping at the concept, his attention seemed drawn elsewhere. Well, aren't I embarrassed? I could have sworn with how you two get on that you were already boyfriends and that I'd been strung along for a while there. Strung along? How? He's always like this? Strung along. When? How? What is your relationship? Please flesh it out. You can't just put it in the Dean route. That's not writing. Oh god, no. Dean, it's not like that at all, right, Ty? He mumbled something under his breath before looking up and nodding slowly. Right. Well, alright. So, lead on, Mr. Detective. Is this the spot we want? Well... Looking around didn't immediately tip off that this was the right place to be looking, but it made me remember our fight. It made me remember Ty's threat to enter the forest, and I wonder if that was what made it all go down. From what I remember, you were face down on the ground, Ty. Great. So what? Better question, how did he die? What do you remember seeing? He was on the ground with a lot of gashes on his face, and I shudder, sniffling and opening my notebook to write down things while they were fresh. And... Stuttering, I tried to get the words out. Seeing Tyson so bloody in my mind's eye, I could feel the tears start to well up. Hey, it's alright. Maybe we should start with that and go through the list. I whined, nodding. Gashes, huh? Wonder what could have messed my face up. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if the woods had bears or something like that in there. Reckon you would have pissed one of them off? Fuck off, I'm not messing with a bear. No? Fuck you. But nah. Doubt I'd go messing with anything like that. Hell, it'd be hard enough to get me to stick around for a second go after getting me in the face once. Huh. Wiping my eyes, I thought it over. It made sense, and what I remembered about the cuts. What if it was a weapon that did multiple cuts at once? Or claws? Well, it fit the bill if it was a bear attack. Or anything with claws like that, really. Not even a knife? Are there knives with multiple, thingies? You mean blades? Closest thing I can think of like that I've seen is a hand hoe in the greenhouse. Reckon you could do some damage with one of those. How many people do you think have access to it? All of us, really. It's just a gardening tool. I don't think it'd be that anyway. How come? Who the fuck picks up a hand hoe as a murder weapon? You've seen this shit. You've seen this shit in the mansion. Literally anything else makes for a better weapon. Got a point there. That doesn't narrow things down, does it? I thought back to what else could help. There are two things I could think of. What other clues are there? The medal? You were holding a medal? Of course I was. What? You found a medal out in the woods? I guess? Or I guess I would have if this shit is real. Dave, something's bothering me about it though. Well, the one I remember you seeing was silver? Or something like that anyway. That's strange. Aren't the medals we found so far all, I guess you'd call them bronze? They're not silver, trust me, I'd know. Cause you're a werewolf? Is that what you mean? How many have we found so far again? Well, Orlando found that one in the maze. Dave found one in the pumpkin, plus the one I dug up brings us to 2.5. What? Half a medal? Yeah, I showed it to Dave. Still, that one wasn't silver either, right? Just dirty. Unrelated, Dave. Tyson shrugged and Dean started to scratch his head. A silver medal? So is it one of the ones we're looking for? I only really want to be looking in the woods. I don't really want to be looking in the woods for any medals if I can avoid it. I'm just telling you what I remember seeing. Great, so if we see a silver medal, we know I'm fucked. Ty, not funny. Fine, I'll be careful. Oh right, there's also wounds on your arm. What kind? It's a minor thing, but this is definitely an ongoing thing. The language of options has never been made universal in this game, so sometimes when you click on an option, people respond to it as if you said it out loud, and other times you click on an option and then Dave then says something, and it's just back and forth. It's one of those things that's especially noticeable when you're Let's Playing, because you're not sure if you should read the option out loud or not, or if he's about to say it a second later. What kind? It was on the same arm as the one holding the medal. They look small? My arms aren't small. I mean, compared to mine? Dean made a show of flexing, his arms being significantly bigger.
It's odd because they're sprites. Tyson is considerably more jacked than Dean.
Yes. No, Tyson clearly has larger everything than Dean. He has larger arms, he's wider, he's taller, but then you see Tyson in any CG and he looks like a completely different character because this is extremely wide Tyson.
I mean, it's not even just wide though. Look at those fucking forearms.
Yeah, no, he's huge. And Dean doesn't have any muscle whatsoever on his arms. They're like, they don't even get larger at the elbow, which is where they would. But Dean is supposed to be a match for Dom somehow, so... Whoops.
And yet that goes nowhere, and Orlando's the one that takes out fucking Memphis.
There's never been more setup and discussion leading up to a climax that then just threw out every single word we learned about it and just made something up on the fly instead. What an ending. Dean made a show of flexing, his arms being significantly bigger both because of his size, but also because of this physical labor he did near daily. His size? Is he supposed to be bigger than Tyson in stature? He's obviously shorter. Whoops. I mean, I can't trust these sprites because Benson exists and he like hovers 3 feet in the air compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Like Benson's clearly short, but in a way where they decided to just draw him. You literally see more of his legs than any other character, and he's just floating really high for some reason. It's a very strange choice. Quit staring, pup. Focus. I laughed, having gotten distracted in seeing Dean flex. Part of me wondered if Ty would do that for me later if I asked. Yeah, people that work out every day to build up their muscles just hate showing off. They would never. Sorry, I meant the marks. Alright, well... What'd they look like? I'd probably say they looked like little cuts, maybe bites. Bites? And small ones? Why'd I let anything bite me more than once? Hard to say. If you were dead in this memory, then something could have been nibbling on you afterwards. But what fits that description? If we're talking things living in the forest, that brings us back to a bear again. You think a bear could have done small marks? What about a fox? I guess that could work. Why would I go chase a fox? Maybe it was chasing you. The fuck did I do to a fox? I don't know. Did it say anything? How the fuck should I know? Look, if I was stuck in the woods for a night, I'd be fine not eating. Been longer periods of time without me eating. A night's not gonna kill me. Well, guess we can be thankful there's no reason for us to worry about anyone going hungry, huh? Right? Right. Still. Ty looked at me and I understood. He'd been in worse spots before as far as food was concerned. Didn't explain what could have attacked him, though. So where does that leave us? Fun as it is talking about how I magically died, it's getting old. That's up to Dave, isn't it? I was hoping that we'd have someone we could potentially point to as a suspect, right? You want... do an interrogation? Dibs on being the good cop, then. Tyson, you can be the bad cop. Suits me fine. But who, though? Well, do you have any other clues? When did you see Tyson die? It was, 4 days ago, I think. We were out there and he was threatening to walk home. Through the backyard? I had a lot of shit on my mind. I wasn't thinking straight. So, safe to say that if Dave saw you dead, you wandered into the forest and got killed. I whined, and it seemed the thought troubled Ty as well. But then how do you explain what I saw? Tyson came back. Well, yeah, but... No, he came back, Dave, trust me. When you've got a big enough family like I do, you see siblings and relatives bicker all the time. Sure, it's only a guess, but... He trailed off, and my attention slowly went back to Tyson, who was staring at me in shock. Was what Dean said the truth? Would Ty have done that if things had played out differently? It was before I told him about him being family, and what happened after. It was explicitly before I told him about being family, but he's family in the other routes. Hey, Dean? What? Give me 5 minutes with Dave alone. Then after, I want to talk to you about something. About what? Mind your own business. Are we done then? I don't think we're gonna get very far just off memories alone, as much as I'm sad to say, but hope I helped? Oh, yeah. It's at least given me some stuff to think about. I will never think about this again. This will never be resolved. I will solve nothing. This investigation never amounts to anything in any timeline. It's a complete waste of time. It literally just feels like they just felt like, maybe I'll have them investigate it today. And then they thought about like what they'd actually learn. I'm like, I guess they wouldn't find anything because they don't even know the characters that did it, and I haven't even written who did it. And then that's just what he felt like writing that week. Was just everyone investigating the love interest's death in every route and learning nothing and giving up. And that's what day 10 is. Woo! A waste of time. Well, I'll leave you two alone for a bit. Meet me in the greenhouse when you're ready, Tyson. Dean lumbered off towards the greenhouse, leaving Tyson and I alone. For a few moments, we just stood there, and I wondered if Ty was eating into his 5 minutes on purpose. Ty? If you're only gonna be 5 minutes, you might want to start talking, right? Then suddenly he grabbed me in a hug, holding me to his chest. He didn't say anything at first, opting to instead just rest his chin on my shoulder. He's right. Who, Dean? About what? Ty stepped back and looked at me carefully. At the time, I was so mad. Probably would have wandered the forest for the rest of the day before feeling like a dumbass and wanting to come and apologize. But you rarely apologize to anyone. You've only done it multiple times in this game already. You're different, as noted by how I've apologized to you in this game already. But why'd you get so mad? Look, it's not important, right? It's dumb. I'm dumb. Let's just move on, yeah? Please? Okay. I looked over to the greenhouse before looking back at Ty, jaw clenched in uncertainty. I wasn't sure how much time we had left before we had to meet Dean. He doesn't have to meet Dean on a time limit. That's not what people is. Ty, I know. You do? He breathed in deep, straightening before looking over at the greenhouse. Why are they talking like fucking... it's like that fucking movie. Jesus. I can't remember their names. I literally talked about it in the Lego She video. That Disney movie with the gay kids that aren't gay, but they are. It's like the fucking scene where like, oh no, the train's leaving. I'm sorry, farewell. Like they're having this weird like forced thing like, oh no, the plane's gonna leave at this moment. This is our last chance to be together. It's just Dean. He's just standing in the greenhouse. He won't even notice if you're late. He's not keeping time, you fucking weirdos. He breathed in deep, straightening before looking over at the greenhouse. I do, so don't worry about saying it. What makes you so sure what I was gonna say? Because... Ty sighed out, kicking the dirt. Look, just promise me something, alright? What is it, Ty? That no matter what happens, you'll be happy, alright? I don't understand. You're a brat and need someone to look out for you constantly, so promise me. Please, call it a favor for your older brother or whatever. I looked at him, confused as to what he brought this on, but I nodded slowly. Notice how the writing makes way more sense if I voice it like that? Like it's a fucking tearful farewell forever. Alright, I promise. Good. He straightened me and looked over quickly just before looking in the direction of the greenhouse again and again and again and again. So, tonight? What about tonight? Are you helping with me at dinner or what? Okay, it stopped making sense. Sure, I guess. And after? Dessert? I mean, sharing a bed, dumbass. Are we going to do that again? Sure, okay. Actually, don't go changing your mind. If the answer was no, why bother asking? Fine, we'll share the bed, but this is the last one for a while. Because Because now I'm gonna talk to Dean, so go stay out of trouble. Well, that amused me. I rolled my eyes and he stepped forward to pat me between the ears. Hope you're feeling a little better. Come find me later if you want to hang out. Ty wandered off in the direction of the greenhouse and I looked around again. Were there any clues I'd missed? Was there nothing more to go off of? I spent the rest of the morning thinking things over and eventually made my way into the dining room. As far as I knew, shy of going to the forest, I was out of clues. I can only assume that it's Jack, because if it's not Jack, there's just no other comprehensible answers, but it's annoying that they don't ever figure it out even a little bit. They just kind of never question it again at some point. Tyson died outside. A bunch of marks were on his body. Dean was quick to rule out something from the greenhouse as a weapon, and it seemed to be mostly down to wildlife at that point. That being said, Ty was pretty keen on not wanting to mess with animals, so whatever got him was able to do all those cuts in one go, or at least the ones that ran next to each other. And if him leaving meant that he was going to show up later that day, or even the day after, he probably wouldn't be desperate enough to try hunting. Besides, like Dean said, he'd come back, which leaves us with who as a suspect? I looked at everyone carefully in the room. Was one of them a potential killer? Who would kill Ty? Disliking him was one thing, but taking it to the point of killing him? While I was writing down the notes in my notebook, though, something occurred to me. Something that I remembered that seemed off. Hey, Sal?
Yes.
He wandered over from talking to Roswell about something to stand in front of me, looking confused.
Is something the matter?
Well, I looked quickly to Haas, who seemed distracted, and a couple of others before gesturing for Sal to follow. There's no closing comma for who seemed distracted. What? There's something startling about changing locations without the character going away.
I don't understand. What's wrong?
I'll be quick, honest.
Are you in trouble? Am I in trouble?
No, nothing like that. I was just wondering if, so a couple nights ago, you were in the conservatory, right?
What? No, not that I know of.
Wait, what? But you were there.
Maybe at some point during the day?
No, I'm talking like middle of the night. You were kind of standing there, just still, how would I explain it? I rolled my wrists, trying to find words.
I didn't leave my room. Once I went to my room for the night, I just went to bed.
But that's impossible. I saw you there. It didn't seem as though Sal was believing me. He just scratched his head. I know I saw him there. After all, I was on edge after talking to Oswin as it was. What if I show you?
The conservatory?
Right, then you'll maybe remember? Sal didn't seem overly pleased with the prospect, but didn't object to the notion, so we headed upstairs. As soon as we entered, my eyes went to the bookcase, remembering the reason I'd come here that night. As for Sal... What's the matter? He wandered around the room before stopping in place before the bookcase looking at it.
Something about this right here feels familiar.
Right, that's where you were standing when I saw you the other night.
But I was in bed, sleeping.
What makes you so sure, though, Sal?
I took sleeping medication. I got it from Dean. And honestly, it's not the first time I've taken it. It normally works pretty quick.
Should I start matching A?
Yeah, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, it's just a different perspective because we're not in Sal's route, but it's like, we know maybe there's a tiny difference in phrasing that'll give insight, but I think this is mostly just a very long conversation, once again establishing that he takes sleeping medication. In fact, let's just This is all stupid. It's him investigating the murder, and that was him being like, could it be Roswell? Could it be Orlando? And as we know, it doesn't go anywhere, so fuck it. Hey, Benson.
Master Dave.
Oh, Benson. Hello.
You look troubled. More so than usual. Whatever is the matter.
I decided I'd try and piece together what the next danger would be. Get the vault to work again.
Ah, quite a task you've set for yourself. How's that going thus far?
Well, I don't really have anything solid to go off of, but at the moment it's just Sal, I suppose?
Your crocodile friend? What about him?
When I left the library after talking to Oswin, he was in the conservatory, just kind of standing there. But he didn't remember doing that.
Does he sleepwalk, perhaps? I used to do so when I was younger.
Sleepwalking?
Indeed. Perhaps he sleepwalks and just decided to take a stroll. Or he has more of a skill for acting than Master Hoss.
I doubt that. At the very least, he didn't know about the bookcase entry unless he's lying.
Perhaps, Master Dave, perhaps.
Guess this is just the same thing. Okay, no, I guess this might be new.
Not at all. Master Oswin expressed worry himself this morning. You're not the only one wondering what the next event will entail.
But there will be one.
Consider it an old sense reigniting. The familiar scent of murderous intent on the air, if you will. Not that it's anything remotely tangible, my boy, just an inkling this old otter has.
Did I have a gun, a weapon, anything like that?
Unless you wish to get accused of being the assailant, I would advise against it. The best I can do is to state that I have no intention of arming any of you without express instruction from Master Oswin.
Well, that's something at least.
However...
What? Benson stroked his mustache, seemingly thinking things over.
It's probably nothing. But I would potentially want to address that first. The prospect of a puppet is a dangerous one.
Especially one that can lie. A puppet? You don't mean...
It is unlikely that anyone could use your crocodile friend to kill, but with little creativity, that's still one problem that's worth addressing lest you wish for a massacre.
A massacre? There's the password. I gulped at the prospect. If he was describing it as a massacre, what did he expect could happen?
A big man such as himself would be a force in his own right, and putting him down would be somewhat of a challenge without being considerably armed.
What do you suggest?
Talking to him for a start, Master Dave. Where is he now?
Rather than tell him, I wandered over to the pool and Benson followed. Sure enough, Sal was sitting in the pool with his eyes looking at the water. Sal? He grunted in response, doing a double take when he realized that I wasn't alone. He scrambled to his feet as he noticed Benson, giving him a brief bow.
I'll be plain, Master Sal. Do you experience sleepwalking? Sleepwalking? Not that I know of.
Man, what'd they talk about that long if they didn't even establish that he sleepwalks?
Fascinating.
Why is that fascinating, Benson?
If he does, then he's flagrantly unaware of it. But this might be of benefit to you. What is this about?
Remember what we were talking about upstairs, Sal? Benson had an idea.
Oh, pay me no mind. Consider it just an act of passing down wisdom. However, I do have another question, although it is quite bold of me to ask this directly. What is it?
Benson seemed to wait only a moment before asking his question, and he asked it bluntly.
Have you ever killed someone, Master Sal?
Sal's face paled, and he took a step back.
Or perhaps just thought about it. To be perfectly honest, even if the predisposition is there is all I'm after. Even if is all I'm after.
The predisposition for killing?
Yes. But what it should just say is, to be perfectly honest, I'm just after if you have the predisposition of killing. The even here is, or the if here is wrong.
It's just a wild thing to say out loud to a person in general. Even if you try to unpack the phrasing, you're just like, what the fuck is he saying right now?
It's really weird. Really weird.
Benson, you can't go asking that.
Have I overstepped a line? I meant no disrespect. After all, it's been...
It's Ben.
Yes, I have.
The comment was muttered, but I could still make it out.
But it was an accident. But yes.
Is he gonna Are we about to get into Sal poorly phrasing his guilt for his sister so badly that he acts like he makes it sound like he killed his sister in every timeline?
Yeah.
Until like they've uncovered the secret that he just feels guilty about watching her die. This also potentially makes, if this happens, that also means that the big reveal of his route is just a thing you get no matter what. So his route's really boring to play then. That's really weird because the basic characterization of most characters seems to only exist in their route, even if you take fans by their own really damning claims. But if Sal just reveals the sister thing, that is genuinely a thing that isn't even characterization, but is the kind of deep insight you would learn by being in someone's route. Like, that level of guilt about that specific of a thing is a thing that's excusable as something you only learn by getting close to somebody, and not a vital part of the character you have to know to understand what's happening in the narrative. So it's just interesting to me.
Then perhaps we're in the clear then. As far as taking a life is concerned, an accident doesn't constitute enough of a risk. Should I be worried?
Oh, Benson wondered if you were sleepwalking because actually, why were you wondering about that? He just doesn't remember him saying puppet.
Yeah, I guess not, huh?
Allow me to explain. Someone that can be hypnotized and those that are prone to sleepwalking have some level of suggestibility. The things you can convince someone to do or think while they're in this state is...
I genuinely feel like we had this conversation already.
Maybe?
I'm getting deja vu, but I don't know. Maybe it's just deja vu.
I mean, it's largely the conversation we had in the original route anyway, about just explaining the concept of hypnotization. I can just mash A a bit. I just want to catch whatever's supposed to be important.
It's fine.
It's so tedious.
No, yeah, this is it. If we go back, remember, this is the conversation where he explains.
Yeah,
you can get someone
copy pasted from when the conversation was done differently in a different location about Sal the other route.
So even though it's not skippable, it's the same exact conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Just someone important to me is dead.
Yeah, and this is when he's hinting that he killed his sister, but we didn't know who it was. Yeah.
Thought something new might happen, but nope. I threw my notebook on the bed. That good, huh? Completely failed. Big loser. Ty, what are you groaning for? Just stuff. I don't think I've gotten very far. Well, shit. Sorry to hear that. How'd your talk with Dean go this morning? Fine. And you talked about guy stuff? Like? None of your business. Doesn't concern you, even though I said that you need a wingman in front of Dean, which means that I'm hooking up with Dean. What if I go ask Dean? He won't tell you either. I told him not to tell you. But why? Were you asking about me? No, I just knew you'd ask because you're a brat who wants to know what's going on. But what's wrong with that? Let me have my secrets. I don't have to tell you everything. Fine. That came over to the bed, kicking the door to the bedroom closed behind him. I don't know, if you want it to be a secret, don't make a whole show of showing someone that you're doing it. Not worried, huh? What if someone dies, Ty? What if you die? What about if you die? That won't happen. No shit, it won't happen. I won't let it. Point is, just relax a bit. You're looking out for everyone. They're looking out for you. It'll be fine. Okay, but you think there's gonna be a fucking slaughter just because you forgot to check in with someone? Well, no, but... And stop stressing about it. You're stressing me out just watching. We can't do shit. Just take a nap or something. I don't think I want to sleep just yet. That's a first. What, you hoping I'm gonna offer to cuddle with you first? No, I'm just not tired. I have too much on my mind. And you're on the bed anyway. It's comfy. Ty sighed out and sat down next to me before falling onto his back. I turned my head to the side to watch him, and his expression didn't seem to shift. Hey. What? You scare me sometimes, you know that? I'm not that scary. That's... You know what? Sure, you're right. We lay there in silence for a bit longer before I spoke up again. You still need help with dinner? Probably not, but you can help if you want anyway. I think I'd like that. And after? Sharing a bed, right. The amount of times I have to agree on this. Tyson just nodded and put his hands on my chest, staring at the ceiling. You think it'd help if we what? You know. No? Fucked? Oh. Well. I chuckled. Finally! You know finally meant you know. I was finally right. I chuckled, looking away for a second before letting my eyes sit on Tyson again. He hadn't moved from staring at the ceiling, but the fact that he hadn't cracked a smile meant he was serious. Really? Yeah. I don't know. Just putting the offer out there. We're sharing a bed, so... Wait, you meant right now? No, later. Why? Don't tell me you're hoarding up now. I mean, you started it, but like, what about kissing? Isn't that what you do before, you know? No, you guys are gay. That means like anal's first base and kissing is second and home run is holding hands in public for the first time. Ty sat up, scratching his neck and moving to rub his face. Not always. What do you mean? Nothing, just don't worry about it. Look, you want to hang out for a bit, or do you want to be left alone? Still got time before I need to get dinner going. Stay with me? Doing what? Anything, just don't leave right now, Ty. You're such a pain. You literally just asked him and then he gave you an answer. Let's go watch a movie. If you're lucky, I'll give you a brushing too. I didn't end up getting that brushing, but I did spend the better part of the afternoon tucked beneath Ty's arm as we watched a movie. Ty and I wandered downstairs when it was time to cook. We sized up the kitchen together.